of trustee Gruss. And Supervisor Spicer. And review of comments and summary, add summary to September 6th, 15 minutes. Can I get a second? Motion to approve.
So move.
So move, Gary. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes carried. Discussion of equipment age, conditions and replacement funding. On the screen here is Columbia Township Emergency Service major equipment status and Navy Department millage rates. If you look at 2770, it's not reliable, and then we need to replace it as soon as we can. I have an arrow from 2011 down to pumper 2722. When pumper 27.2 became 15 years old, they bought a new pumper. 2722 is still a reliable one, but in 2021 it hit its 25 years of service. And really, when you hit 30 years of service, should be the end of life of your second out truck. The only solution we could have for that is try to buy a used pumper that's like 16, 17 years old so that we can get more time to be able to start swapping these on a proper schedule. So this kind of shows where we're at. We also have a 2730, which is a pumper tanker that was purchased in 09. And it's reliable. It did have an issue a couple years ago where it went in and got repaired. But it's 25 years is going to hit in 2034 and 2039. Now, the only thing we have here is that we had a recent major repair that was somewhere in the $20,000 range, but it still is a very reliable pumper tank.
What was
So,
the repair?
pardon?
What was the repair?
If I remember,
Let's say,
go ahead.
the repair it was on 30, correct? That was what you were notating.
Yes.
30's entire, the way that these things stay ready is they've got a plug-in that just charges them over and over and over again while they're off. That whole system failed. So I think replacing it, just that part alone was like 12 grand.
So that's electrical.
Yeah, it's one of those things that sooner or later
Yes.
fail. We all were very surprised at how much it cost as well. But yeah, that was the recharge service for the truck. And it started tossing errors to the transmission, which was making us regen it before we would leave the station. So we'd have to turn it off, cycle it, and then leave for mutual aids. The 25 year on 2722, we completely went through it, resealed everything. You're right on the 30 year, usually that's kind of a time limit on them, but at 25 years, every single one of the trucks has to be gone through and brought back to a new status. Which means replacing all the seals, sweeping up all the valves. 70 while we're talking about it, is actually, it was being worked on yesterday morning, I know that much. I know that Backroads was out there, once again, working on it. After the crash of them going over the railroad tracks, I did confirm with him that was around when the electrical problems started. The people who fixed it after that point put in a bunch of relays, 3 different sets of relay panels. And there's no real diagram for that, and replacing a wire harness on a fire truck takes about a year, so. That's kind of where we're at, that's why we're moving 70 along, so, but yeah. That's what all those charges were.
Those are the 3 biggest price items. After that, we have a grass rig that's 2762. And that's like on a 10-year replacement. That would have been in 1998. We're still using it. Was purchased in 1988. And that really needs to be replaced when we can be able to justify it even more. Medical truck is in good shape. The Kawasaki mule, we should have that for a long time. And down below, I took the status of all our neighboring fire departments. The total average would be about 3.2 mils. And if you took Arlington, Bangor, and Bangor Township and Geneva, which we used to be in the joint fire district with, you can see Arlington's at 2.39 mils, and Bangor went up to 5, and 2.8 for Bangor Township. When we were in that district, we complained about Bangor only paying like $17,000 for their fire protection. They had the most calls and they were getting a bit more benefit. And we were getting very little benefit for the I think it was 160,000 we were sending them at the time. Geneva's with South Haven, and they're paying 3.1. And Lawrence is 3.2, and they charge Arlington Township for the other half at 3.2 mils, which I don't see shown up there for Arlington, and I couldn't find it on their millage rate, and so they're paying it somewhere. So the average if we were still with BVACG, we would be about 3.3 mils. Total average would be about 3.2 mils if we were staying up with our neighbors. So Paw Paw has a bond out right now, and they do have a 1 mil for their fire district. That's the neighbors.
And why do you have Bangor City in there rather than just the townships?
Because
Are you trying to
they were
compare
part of
apples
the
to apples?
BBACG. If you dropped out that 5 and took it down to 3, you would be about 3.1 on the total average, and the BBACG would probably drop down to about 3.1 also. You still be about the 3 mark.
Well,
We're at
I'll
2.
show you my
Huh?
different,
We're at 2.
We're at 2.
and you didn't factor us in that. I came up with a little bit of different math, but anyway, some of these, I don't know how many of them also include full ambulance.
Right.
So I'm just saying, I'm not sure the apples to apples comparison is there.
They
But-
provide full ambulance.
Some of these villages cover
Geneva does.
ambulance service.
Geneva does.
In South
We
Haven.
thought there were South Haven,
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
I
so
don't
that's-
know if Arlington does or Bangor, but I'm just saying for the sake of apples to apples. Just bear that in mind, I feel that this. Gives a little different impression than the reality of our little township.
Another question I have on that is, are these all full-time fire departments where the people are being paid, or are these volunteers?
only South Haven, is full-time.
So is Bangor.
Okay,
Bangor
so that also is
And-
different, where ours is volunteer and theirs.
Paw Paw has pretty much volunteer, and they have a lot of them.
And
And they're-
Lawrence is full-time as well.
Our people all get paid,
Yeah.
So
They're
they're
just-
not just
just-
volunteers.
no,
Okay.
no, they get paid
We're paid
on
on
call. They
Okay.
don't, we only have one that gets paid when they're
Full-time.
not
Right.
necessarily on a call.
I didn't understand that. I thought because we are a volunteer department, they were all volunteers.
I don't
It's not
even know if we
voluntary.
should call it
It's not
volunteer, no.
They're called, on-call paid
Well,
volunteers.
Okay.
It's called combined.
Yep.
Okay,
What about Bloomingdale and the fact that they're down to zero? When did that happen and how does that impact those of us that are neighbors of Bloomingdale? They have a zero millage. What does that mean?
They get a stipend,
They get a
the chief, yeah, they get a stipend,
They are truly volunteer,
they are.
and they've been paying for equipment and things out of general fund apparently.
Okay,
Because they didn't ever do, a millage for.
I would say Gobles and Bloomingdale and Pawpaw, their entirety of their creation, they have been volunteer.
okay,
So.
They also use their ARPA money to buy with the, for the fire department.
okay.
so that gets us into the fire, budget. And at the top of this is the fire fund. We're projecting to get, $248,902
So how you do to the
For next
budget?
year.
Okay,
property tax or two millage rate would generate most of that fund at, 242,000.
so now we're on G1, right?
In the agenda,
In the agenda,
Correct.
and you jumped to the fire department for.
So looking at the fire fund, if there's any questions here or any changes you wanna make from the supervisor's, recommendation. On other revenue, I have $350,000 coming from the, general fund over to the fire department to be able to work with the firefighters, fire budget to fund balance to be able to purchase a fire truck in 2026.
I say, I don't think that's a good idea to take money from the general fund. We have to revamp this budget before we just start pouring, you can't keep pouring money into it and expect a different result here.
So you'd like to take that to zero?
I want that to zero.
Okay,
One of my thoughts was, if we cut their budget back and they save money for their balance, maybe we can talk about a loan with interest, or we could talk about matching if they're doing fundraisers and things, but I think just to hand over $350,000 of the taxpayers' money is not our responsibility.
yeah, the only way that I would go along with that is, similar to what Mary said, either. If that's the case, then there's gotta be a loan with payments on it, and they don't have money to make the payments now. So I don't know where that money come from. Now, the other thing is, in a couple of years, see how much they can trim and save, and maybe you could match that. That's another option. I think Mary just said that as well, so. Right now, I'm saying that should be zero as well. We know that Vesper is coming in. There will be extra funding. So that can be used either for purchasing a fire truck outright, or maybe loaning the money and then having payments come in from that. So,
The general fund's also getting their revenue cut from the state, so it's not, we need to have a cushion for the general fund. We still have cemeteries and the transfer station and other needs of our community. I just read in the MTA, the one that just came out, that all fire departments are having this issue. And that we need to basically think outside the box. We have to do more mutually with other fire departments other than just mutual aid, is what it said.
I think it's clear you want that to go to zero. Jason, you want that to go to 0 too?
I believe so. I think I'm in alignment with everyone because in the end, what I'm seeing on this budget is that we're not really addressing the larger problem because we're still operating at a 200,000 deficit in the fire department, even with putting 350 grand in there.
Right.
So it's kind of like, it seems like a Band-Aid solution a little bit, which sometimes you need if you're bleeding to death, but even by wiping out half of our general fund, the fire department's still operating in a deficit and their fund balance gets cut in half still.
Well, on top of that, if you do this, that leaves a balance in the general fund of, it was 170 something or whatever, which means that next year, the fire department will be in the same situation, so where's this other money gonna come from out of the general fund? It's not gonna be there.
Yeah, the fund balance left, according to your spreadsheet, in the fire fund is only 187,618, even after taking all that operating.
In your normal budgets,
And
200.
that's not.
We're already at the point of making that 0. We don't need any more
Okay.
justification. You guys have done a great job there.
Okay.
So you need to move down to 206-342-956-005. Apparatus vehicles, there's a number there for $565,000. Without the 350, that will go to 0. Also. Okay,
65 goes to 0.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's agreeable by all, right? So we're gonna go back up because that one changed the other one. That's gonna change most of this, document. So we're back at the fire fund. We made the change to, Department 000 by removing the, 350,000. Everything else there, agreeable. Anyone have any other issues with the, revenue? I'm gonna take that as you're okay with
The
it,
revenue,
just revenue.
Are you saying fire department?
That $606,000 of revenue will drop down by 350,000.
well, your other figure in there was 500 and some thousand, so where's the other 200 coming from? There's that,
It would have come out of the fire department,
that's the budget.
but,
And that
funds
wouldn't come
balance.
out too much.
that would come down too, but. I just wanna take care of the revenue. Once we get past revenue, we'll start getting into the fire expenses. Okay? Basically, you're getting the 2 mills and $6,000 from renting to the sheriff spot for the vehicle. Now. Okay? Okay, we're gonna move on to 336 fire. It's
Ken, can I ask a question, like, in terms of what we're trying to accomplish today? I mean, we just blasted through the fire department budget,
no,
we didn't,
we just went through revenue. Now we're going to expenses.
okay, well, we're blasting through the fire department budget. What are we trying to? Are we shooting for final approval today, or what is the objective?
No,
This is not anywhere near final approval.
Okay,
This is our first cut where you look at what I've come up with. You either agree with it or you disagree with it. If you disagree with it, then we change it to what you have. And then we have another look at it one more time and try to resolve where we're at.
If there are disagreements with it, are there gonna be any options to figure out how to build back and?
I hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah, looking at this today does not solve the issues. We all know.
We're not
that.
solving the
There's
issue.
Still gotta be a future plan.
And there might be just some sort of meeting just to talk about how we solve the issue. And I tried getting grants, I've tried everything I can think of, and I gotta throw my hands up, train wrecks here. We're in a train wreck. And the only way I think we're gonna get out is if government helps us and talking with the county and state.
No, if you're paying attention, it's all been asked.
Yeah.
I can't tell you if we'll come back next year. But the money's not there. It's a big change.
There's nothing available.
Yeah.
So let's go through the salaries. Is any of the numbers that I have, I basically increased the officer's salary from no, I made everything the same as it was last year. I did not make one change on that. The yellow line is last year, and the
Right.
peak is, well, I guess it's not peak. The line to the right of it is the supervisor. So as you see there, I was gonna bring my little laser, but I forgot. As you see from here to here, if these numbers are the same, it's the same budget that we approved last year. And if you're okay with the same budget that we approved last year, then all of this stuff seems to fall in place. Now, the totals always come up on an expense as a negative number. When I do mine, it doesn't come up as a negative number, but if it's red here, it's also red there. It's a negative number because it's an expense. But if these yellows match up, this is nothing different than what we did last year. Now, JC said he was okay with that. You may not agree with that, and you need to speak up if you don't agree with that.
You're gonna hear
The numbers for the salaries don't need to change.
They're gonna stay in the same?
Totally stay the same. With me leaving the captain spot, my plan is to move Joe Ferlin up.
Do you think he's really ready for that?
I do. I think Joe's seen a lot more than a lot of people have. Even at the young age of 22. Joe is
let's go.
maturing through the fire service. I know that he's still got his young testosterone running, but he's very good at what he does. He is the future of your department. But there won't be any lieutenants next year. As long as that goes through, but no, I'm not looking to change the salaries for this year. Those numbers that JC gave are done.
On the salaries, the comment that I'm gonna make, which I've made 1,000 times, is the daytime pay for the $40,000. I was at the meeting, I was not on the board, when it was told that would not affect the budget. And for 3 years now, it has affected the budget, so that was brought in not truthful. Under false pretenses, in my opinion. I think that as a board, we've been negligent in the fact that we should, we hear that the ambulance won't come and all this, but we're paying $100,000 to the ambulance. I think as a board, we keep talking about it, but none of us are going to the meetings. I think maybe that we get a couple people, maybe Dixie and somebody else who's really involved in it, to go to those meetings and report back to the board, if she would be willing. Meet with the county, and we need to find out why our $100,000 isn't being used for this. And according to what's been said, it's like, well, we need you guys to have a daytime medical because we can't cover it. Then you pay it out of the $100,000 that we gave you. I don't think that citizens should have to pay for something that they're paying for twice. And Ken, I know you're looking at me because we've had this back and forth, and I'm sorry, but we were told we're gonna do all these things. This was not gonna affect the budget. That's and $20,000 that could have been toward a truck. I just think that as a board, we have been negligent with really following through every time we talk about it, but none of us are going to the,
The money that we pay in does not go all, it doesn't come back to us. The money we pay in
Is distributed through the. county.
distributed to the county, and the county turns around and uses the population of our township to give us our money back, and we're paying a lot more in than what we're receiving.
Right.
And no ambulance service can cover Columbia Township due to the fact that they say they don't have enough ambulance calls in our community to justify an ambulance here. And therefore, because we don't have a larger population, that we should take the risk on our own, and if we want better service, we should pay for it.
Okay,
The way I see that is, you hire me to do a job here. I'm like, okay, I'll take your money, but I don't wanna go over there, so Karen, can you for free go over there and take care of that? It doesn't make sense in my head why we're doing this. I think that we need to really look at that position. Really look at what the county's doing. So
I can tell you, without that position, you don't have a fire or ambulance service or emergency
I
response.
mean, if pinch on something like that, then we shouldn't have a fighter. If we don't have enough people.
If you cannot respond to a
If you're
fire
gonna use the
or
system,
EMS
but you
call,
don't have-
you won't have a fire department or,
Okay, then maybe that's the conversation we need to have. How do we dissolve and go from somewhere else?
oh, okay,
Because what you're saying is, Gary, I'm not done.
you're not gonna
What I
go somewhere
hear
else while
is-
paying more
What
millage.
I hear is, we want to tax our citizens for more equipment, but no matter how much equipment we have, we don't have the staff for it. Okay, so why would we spend the money for hard-earning taxpayers for equipment? What, so we have the best and the brightest? If we don't have the staff, so what's the issue? Is it the staffing issue or is it the equipment issue?
It's both.
are you done now?
Now I'm done, thank you.
Okay, my comment is this. We have, we're paying for a daytime medical responder, we're paying for a deputy, we're paying for an ambulance, so we're triple dipping. Now, I understand that, life doesn't, cover this area as much because it's population and the amount of money that they receive. However, the deputy could be and has been in the past, and all we have to do is talk to the sheriff. Can be dispatched to every medical call. Matter of fact, well, okay, that could happen. According to JC's numbers for 2024, the amount of daytime calls that were received, if you use the numbers that he has in there, I'm talking total calls and daytime calls. It actually comes out to 1.65 calls for daytime medical every 3 days. So that's 2 medical calls per week during the daytime. And those are JC's numbers. So my point is, when we get to the actual budget meeting and start, we need to see where things need to be cut, not just in one department, but in the whole budget. We gotta start seeing where we can cut stuff.
Well, you just can't look at ambulance.
I didn't
You have
say
to
that.
look-
That's what I just said.
You said ambulance, daytime ambulance. Are you
No.
talking about daytime fire and ambulance?
I'm talking about,
No, you didn't use the word ambulance.
I did not use the word ambulance.
You said call.
I said
Were they medical only or
medical
medical?
calls
and fire?
during the day.
Medical calls during the day.
From.
Isn't
our
that
department-
medical calls?
From our.
What about
department.
fire calls during the day?
From our department. From Columbia Township's emergency services.
Okay, here, let me just say one thing.
Yeah.
If you don't have somebody to cover fire during the day and medical during the day, you will not have a fire department.
I didn't say not covering any of them. I said we need to look at adjustments for them, and I'm just telling you what JC's numbers provide. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
Don't we have a staff of like 20 something? Do they all work Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week?
The oldest member of our department works 74 hours a week, James goes work a lot, but the rest of us are pretty young.
Yeah,
Yeah, all of us, I mean. the
what I'm
only-
getting at is availability.
Right.
Everybody on your team doesn't work Monday
Um,
through Friday, do they,
Joe, Steven, and Stewart will probably be the only ones that are available
during the week?
during the day.
And it's Joe, Steven, and Stewart. So
But
there's
Steven-
three on that.
But I think Steven will be working nights.
Okay,
I believe, I'm, he'll probably get run through all the dispatch. Shifts, but usually the new ones get it wrong. Sure.
so do Steven and Stewart live in Grand Junction? Or in neither one?
Stewart lives on the border as well as Steven. Steven, actually, my knowledge. Is just inside the,
Oh, okay, so would you say on the border, our border, so they're real close?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the other thing, since we're talking about this right now, is Steven Civic. He's just been hired full-time over the dispatch
Yes, sir.
pop-up.
He'll be nighttime.
So probably will start nighttime, yes, so. He's gotta sleep sometime, but what I'm saying is that's gonna make a deterrent for what we have during the day as well.
It might actually make him available.
It may,
What,
it
what
could,
his job was.
it could make him more available, that's possible. But I'm just saying, you gotta evaluate everything.
what's the hours right now for daytime that you're using? 8 o'clock to
Or,
8 to 4.
8 to 4?
I mean, the point thrown out about the deputies being sent to medical is, I mean, while they're useful, the one problem still comes down to the ambulance. We're not a transfer department. We're a QR department, so I mean, that 100,000, I don't know what it does if you try to get private in here, I don't know how that balloons, but it only gets more expensive than 100,000.
I know life, depends on you
Yeah.
a lot.
What is?
But I was on a call just outside of Breedsville, where the deputy got there first. We didn't end up using the AED, but he started CPR last. We had an OD, and then another officer had an Narcan before the ambulance got there. So. I mean, I'm not taking away anybody's usefulness or anything like that, but the ambulance being $100,000 to maybe show up.
Yeah, perfect service. That's what I'm saying. I think that.
No, I understand.
okay,
I have 718 in that section as an issue that we will revisit. Is anything else in there besides the $40,000?
Can I just because John wasn't around back when that started. It started off in 2019 as a pilot program. Were you part of that then? So did you maybe take one of those shifts? It used to be, it was open for people to take a shift and we were filling it.
Yeah, no, we've been trying to figure it out. I mean, we've made it through it repeatedly. I know that the budget's not. You know, I know that it's still a cut to the township, but we usually don't go out of it. But no, it was, we figuring out like fund it, figuring out what it was gonna be, because when we started out the part-time program, it was a nightmare. And then trying to start full-time was a nightmare. So.
Okay.
it's one of those deals where, I mean, yeah, we've run through it, and honestly, since COVID, we've kind of stuck on the same schedule. So
Yeah.
we hit a point where we had to carry paperwork around to go to your house still, but we had to be at house. So the 3 shifts still exist. There's a small half hour to an hour before the ghost starts every day that is covered, but it's not one of those days, so.
And because the reason I bring it up is because that's actually the point at which we no longer had savings for equipment.
Mhm,
We were always putting away 40 to 50,
mhm,
and it was building the ending balance.
mhm. Well, I
And
think,
so that's when we couldn't do it anymore.
I go back to the special meeting where you guys voted me in, I don't know. Matt brought up a good point, I don't know at what point where. Just the fire department was held accountable to make sure that they could pay for their own stuff, but Matt said. You got the two options, you either have your department or you don't, so if you do want it. There's some point, there was a disconnect where the township just said, hey, you guys need to figure it out. And we don't know when that was, unfortunately. So. His town, he said as his township stands, they take care of whatever the fire department needs. But they're also volunteers, so I get that. But I don't know where their numbers differ because I've never been to one of them. So,
Yeah, I've never seen their budget.
yeah, I have no idea what volunteer.
And Karen, they tried to justify that cost of the 40,000 by Dave Johnson taking a reduction of pay. I think it was about $5,000. I think that they offered to start mowing the cemeteries and that. Township board said you can't do that and be responding because you probably couldn't hear. They offered to snowplow to cut the cost, and I think we decided that we didn't want to put a snowplow on a truck. So there's a lot of things that they were offering to do to try to help us that we refused to let them do. So it's not all on the fire department.
No, it's not the way that. went.
Not all on the fire department.
Doesn't matter. It's-
Like
Okay.
we said, we were told after he was hired in, he's not your public works person. That's what we were told, but we were sold it, that he would be helping the township and he would be saving everybody money.
The switch in chiefs was a switch in philosophy.
Right,
Dave sold it one way, JC didn't agree. That's where it kind of
One
broke.
thing about Dave Johnson, he could leave work from the school and he can make the
Right,
daytime
there's other
calls,
people.
and we lost that daytime call. We are in trouble. Train wreck. We're
At
in
that
it.
point, we should have reevaluated. The $1,000 for the cadet program, I don't think we need that. We haven't spent any money on that.
what's that for?
Are we still doing that? There was an insurance question that I thought.
We
that
got them
was all-
insured. Yeah, we did get them insured because they hadn't been insured. But I don't know what the $1,000, but we haven't spent anything for a cadet program, so I don't know if we need that in there.
It's usually been for recruitment and retention purposes. I know that we have a line for recruitment but. Kids are different these days. They
The
like.
cadet program is a recruiting
they
type
like-
thing.
They like bags that say the name of the department, like that kind of thing. But I mean, we've been, like I said, with the budgets, as far as I know, at least as far as what I've experienced, we do our best to not screw up on them. So if we're already getting shirts that year, we just get the cadets their shirts through ours, one of those deals. So, I mean, I've never ordered anything for the cadets, but we have cadets in our program every single year because of Jason and Jeremy's classes at Texas. There's a lot of kids that go into those because they're interested in it and they're not claimed by a department, so.
Those come from ISD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
So,
ISD should be funding some of that for us. My opinion.
I mean, I guess we can leave it in there. We haven't spent anything.
did you get to look at this and see if you found any areas in the budget that you thought could be cut?
right, I've seen this repeatedly. I didn't know what this meeting was about because I just got texted that there was a special meeting on Saturday about the budget. So I didn't really have a whole lot of information to front load myself with, so that is my bad, but I just figured it out.
But this won't be the last
Yeah, I
budget,
know.
meeting, so if you
Well,
have
and
a
that was-
chance to look for cuts.
Yes, and that was what I figured, so, I mean, we're off the hook for, you guys, we got tax a couple years ago now. We just, re-upped on our helmets. Because those are getting dangerously out of date. You've got obviously a grace period, but my yellow helmets were out, kind of hitting that point, so, but we're taking care of that, yeah.
What I did get from Bloomingdale was nothing's purchased until it comes before the board. I mean, that's a purchasing policy, but I think the board has a fiduciary responsibility to be more involved on the finance part, not on the fire call part, but make sure we know what's going on.
Okay, should we move on to the balance of this?
I just made one comment. I agree with Mary's comment, and for me, I'm not on the board, so I'm just listening. And what's missing for me in this whole conversation is any priority. Like, you do have a fiduciary duty. So how does fire rank and emergency services rank as a fiduciary duty compared to the other ways we're spending our money? We're just talking about money right now, but we're not talking about the priority, if any, that fire and emergency has for us as a community. And without that, we're just making silly decisions. It doesn't make sense. I want priority. You know, what does the board think its duty is?
If you want priorities, look at the county's year-end figures.
I'm asking the board, you know, what do you think, based on your understanding of your duty under the state statutes? We all have duties. What do you think your duty is with respect to fire and emergency decisions and oversight of the fire department? Compared to all the other things that you're trying to prioritize. That is missing from this conversation. It's just money, but without an emphasis on priority.
I gotta say, I'm not on the board either, but I totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm new to the community, I'm new blood, and to draw new blood or to keep a community thriving.
Yeah.
The health and welfare of my family, whether it's my husband, because we're getting older and dealing with health issues. The fire department is not the first place I would cut.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Cemeteries, I know we have a fiduciary responsibility, but I'd rather not spend 60 grand a year on a cemetery for people that are already dead and buried. And worry about the health and benefit of the people in our community. I'd much rather see that 60K go to the fire department, go to a new truck. If we're spending $100,000 a year on a fire department, just to maintain a fire department. It's nice to know that somebody can make it to us in less than 15 minutes if somebody has a heart attack or something and needs help immediately.
We also have a very poor community, and as the treasurer, I collect their taxes. And I have people, many people come in and make payments and can't make their tax payment. So I think we can do this without raising the taxes of the citizens of Columbia Township.
Trust me, as one of the higher taxpayers, because we're new to the community, I totally get it. And if the taxes go up much more, we won't be able to afford our taxes. I understand, it, but there have to be other answers, and I don't want to expect my fire department to run fundraisers. I mean, yes, support them. They had a great outing or a great open house the other night, which was fabulous to see people go to, but I don't want that to be their primary focus either. And I understand the taxpayers, but how do you draw new blood? How do you build the community to people that can afford a fire department without making changes and figuring out where new money is coming from?
I think the other thing you have to consider, and it actually plays into all three of the emergency service departments, the ambulance, the police, and the fire. You can throw all kinds of money at either one of them or all of them. And it's not gonna change response time because it isn't gonna straighten out any road that we have. We have lakes, we have crooked roads, we don't have, response time is pretty much gonna be what it is, unless they're right there when they get the call. And sometimes that happens, But that's just a comment.
Go ahead.
And now you're completely right on that. I mean, we're 14 lakes. We got a lot of places to travel around to, but whether it be that 15 minutes, that's better than 25. We don't exist. Right? Peace of mind. I hear what you're saying. I do.
And I don't mind spending money, but I want every dime accounted for.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is our responsibility as the board to make sure everything is spent. And you get the most value out of it.
But this is
At my
why I
house,
think it also
nobody's
comes-
giving me more money.
Right,
everything's gone up, I've got to either cut back or make more money.
sure, but this
That's
is
what
why
I
I also think prioritizing
Prioritize.
what departments need the money the most, where can we look to cut? I don't necessarily think fire department is the first one that we should jump at. I think there are other areas.
Nobody's asking to cut
No.
what their starting amount is.
No.
They have a 2.0 mils that is a SAD, so it goes up as the tax base goes up. It doesn't get cut back with Headley Amendment or anything. So in theory, this is keeping pace with inflation for the market. So all we were saying is within what they're actually spending, not what they're starting with. Nobody's saying take money away with what they're starting with. It's if you can find a way to make savings, like we do in our own home budgets. We can either spend it all and go into debt, or we can squirrel away some in savings.
And in theory, that makes sense, but in reality, from one of the other meetings, what I gathered from it. Even though we say we're not cutting back on the 2 whatever mils, that doesn't keep up with inflation. It doesn't rise with the same 5% inflation rate or 6% inflation rate that you're talking about. Equipment costs more than the 2% mills does going up. So what you can get equipment for this year, you can, could have spent less last year. And kind of the same theory with the fire truck, when you put it down to 200,000, now it's 500,000. So it's not dollar for dollar. It's not.
But if we don't have the staff to run the equipment, then we've got a very expensive little
Yeah.
fire truck graveyard over there.
Well, and I agree with what Kate said about prioritizing things. That's what the main thing you should do is prioritize things and see where the money's gonna go to get the best advantages for the taxpayers and for the safety of the people. I mean, nobody wants a fire department that isn't safe for the personnel or the public.
Right.
Nobody wants that. And that like goes with the police or goes with the ambulance. That's.
And if we can cut back cemetery expenditures, that'd be wonderful. I don't know if we can.
I'm not happy with the taxation, what we spend on libraries, but. Look at your tax bill, that's the largest expenditure. Anyway. We're down a rabbit hole.
No, I appreciate, I'm glad we stopped for the minute and talked about that. I think it's really important to crystallize your conversation, that you do so. Processing in your responses, with the priority that you put on fire and emergency compared to other budget items. I do think it'll help provide clarity. So thank you.
I spend more time on this fire department budget than anything else. And I've cut, dissected. And I got no answers.
But I think this kind of goes along with what Kate is saying. It feels like we have the cart before the horse in going through a budget, because we're making binary choices. Are these numbers good or bad? Did they go up or down? And at our last meeting, we said what we need to do is zoom out and take kind of a new comprehensive look at our emergency services and say, like, are we even structured right? What needs to be changed? What needs to be overhauled? Because the way I look at this is not line by line and go, are these numbers good? I go, okay, in Department 336, we're paying over $100,000 in payroll. Is there a restructuring of how we pay people that could dramatically change how we move forward? Because if we're cutting $1,000 here and there, that's not gonna do it.
Right.
We're talking about a $500,000 fire truck. There has to be big moves. We can't just scrimp and trim here and there. It's just not gonna cut it, because even with the $300,000, $350 transfer over, we're still 200,000 short in the fire department budget. So it seems like we need to have a major discussion of, I mean, I don't think anybody doubts that safety is a priority. I mean, that's, everybody would agree to that. But how we go about providing safety is what we need to talk about. Because otherwise, we're just gonna do the same thing we've done. We're just transferring numbers over from last year, and we're just keeping the status quo going.
Right.
So. Yeah, I don't know where to start on that conversation, but I think at our last board meeting, everybody seemed like they were on the same page. That we need to kind of like zoom out and talk big picture emergency services, not budget line items quite yet.
I would take it even further, big picture, township board, what current status of the community as a whole.
Right.
Knowing that, what are our priorities, our primary duties as a board, and how does that impact our budget? Like that macro conversation, reminding ourselves who we are as a township, what our issues are, what the board's duties are. And then micro into the budget itself, knowing that we have our priorities
As
established.
part of that is following the master plan.
And that's what I said,
What the, huh?
that's what I said at the beginning.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah,
Well, the board created the fire department in
You know,
2021, thing.
okay.
a few years ago.
Yeah, it means a new.
A few years ago, the maximum number of calls that we had a year was like 103. We are well over
300.
260 right now.
And how many are Columbia Township? And how many are mutual aid? There's a huge disparity.
Yeah, we're serving.
The medical number's not skewed though. So whatever you see as the medical number, that one's here, that one is nobody else's put up.
What
So
would
that-
happen, what would happen if, instead of the mutual aid setup that we have now, if you get to bill the other townships anytime you help them? And yes, they would do the same to us. Wouldn't we come out way ahead? Aren't we going to other people's aid way more than they're coming to ours?
Oh, 1000%. I'm super happy that our houses are not burning down.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely, but-
As everybody, I mean, the places around us are bigger. South Haven's district just by itself, but then Bangor has, what, 4 or 5 townships as well. As a whole, the umbrella of Bangor.
You're up in Pullman more than you're anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then you're doing 60, you got 16, I believe, mutual aids already this year.
Yeah.
And I think you've only got one from South Haven.
Ship is footing the bill for a lot of our neighbors, not that we
But I
don't
don't-
let any.
In other counties.
I don't know how that works. I don't know. That currency or like, I don't know how a fee structure would be created for that. This,
I don't
they
know
made
either,
this,
I just threw it
they
out
made
as,
this system for response.
Is
at
that,
national board. So you create box alarms with the communities around you. So I mean, that may be an avenue, but I have no.
we did talk before about charging people for quick response calls, and we kind of decided the administration of it might cost more than, more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, we
But
collected
for
the
the
bill.
fires,
Yeah.
that might be a whole different story. Isn't there like a set amount that if you have a fire at your home, that homeowners insurance typically covers?
Typically, it's $500. If
I
you
thought it
have,
was higher than that now.
well, it might be, but it used to be $500.
But if we only have one structure fire a year in Columbia Township.
And
we
we're
go
going to all these other
everybody
ones
else.
though, maybe we would. I'm just throwing it out as like thinking outside the box for a different funding.
Well,
In 2015, I wrote an ordinance for Dean Beckwith and the board for charging for fire calls. I still have that. The reason they decided not to do that was that you're already paying through your taxes for the service. That's why that board did not go forward with it.
But right now, what we're talking about is billing when we're going outside of our township. And yes, they would get to do the same for us.
I think this falls in line with what Jason had said about looking at the big picture and seeing what kind of restructuring, if any, needs to be done. That's all. Priorities from what happens. So,
Like, here's a for instance question. Maybe a dead end. Could we combine the police fund and the fire fund, because they're both emergency responder type
They're public.
things, they're public safety issues, because the police fund has consistently every year gone up 20 to 30,000, and they currently have 365,000 in their fund. It's just growing every year. So what is the point of that particular fund being kept separate?
One of my thoughts on how we can help the fire department is that we take Station 1 and turn it into the sheriff station. Where all the costs for station one would go over to the sheriff's cost.
The police fund.
And any remodeling that we have to do to that for the sheriff, and that we would still keep one of our fire trucks in there. As our second out truck, so that we could do that. That would cut the cost of station one to our fire department and emergency services. And it would use the money for a sheriff to have his own nice office with a better bathroom, and we could actually model it. You never can get rid of station one because we have the high capacity pump there.
Right, the well,
So the fire department's gotta have access to that. And if we have that department designated for the sheriff continuously, he's got control over it. We go in and remodel it, so it's good for him, not what it is right now.
We pay for that?
Huh?
The township pays for that? I can't tell from the way you're expressing yourself, if the township. is
I'm
paying for
saying that the
facility,
fund, the
police
sheriff fund would pay for station.
Which is a township fund, it's our.
It's,
fund.
it's.
Yeah,
police-
Then I did, yeah, I'm looking for plain speaking here.
Police fund.
When we did the new-
207.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Police fund 207.
Okay. So.
When we did the update of the sheriff's millage rate, we added to it, structures. So it does have in our millage rate for that, we can have structures and maintain structures for the sheriff. I haven't talked to the fire department about that yet, but that's one of the thoughts that came across one night when I'm bowling around, I think.
Well, that would definitely help. The fire fund, if they are not having to maintain fire station one.
And the heat. And the electric.
that's maintenance.
So now we're thinking outside the box.
Can we get annual cost on that?
That's what it is.
But
Maybe it's a good idea.
I thought about that. But I haven't talked to the fire department.
Well, and
there may-
JC said something about,
He wants to eliminate it.
enhancing or,
He wanted to move everything out of it and put everything in station two, but he doesn't have a high capacity well.
and he even mentioned the possibility of selling the
The one-
truck
The one
that,
truck,
that you're having electric troubles with. And maybe using that as a down payment towards something new.
yeah,
That was in that email that he sent out. And I'm gonna throw out again, I think we are going to get Vesper funds eventually. They're not gonna be as quick as we might want. But this board pissed away $1 million. And I'm not saying that you were wrong, but I am saying you had a chance. And I think we're gonna get stuck with the same safety risk later, but I don't know if for an absolute fact. But I do know that Vesper is pursuing it and that we're probably going to get there anyway. We just delayed the money that we are eventually probably going to get. So I'm in like a holding pattern in my head of let's find out when and if. Before we do anything drastic, but this idea of maintaining through the police fund. If it's a legitimate change and not just a baloney change, because we are obligated. If voters are paying for the police fund, thinking it's for police. And if we start playing games with their money, that's not cool.
well,
If it's a legitimate station, that's different. I would not be, I'd be telling everybody, if you guys are doing bullshit. If this is a pretend thing versus. Creative financing to help everybody. The police would truly have to have use of that building if you're shifting all the costs.
He'd have
The
a
other
key,
thing-
have a parking spot, he'd have a
well,
new,
the other thing you have to consider is, and I don't know if there would be an issue, but, the sheriff would have to have the weigh in on this too. See if there's some kind of issue that is not allowed or it is allowed, or it'd be a great thing. I mean, yeah,
it's a thought,
that's right,
needs to be evaluated.
that's right.
And the other possibility, I don't know when the police fund millage renews, It could
It just renewed.
possibly be,
4 years, got 3 years left
Okay.
on it.
but there's a possibility whenever that comes up to say we wanna shift money away from the police fund and put it toward the fire fund, then nobody's paying any more. But it would be a
I'm not saying you shift it, that's just gonna be his station.
I know that's not what
Okay.
you're saying now. I threw it out as a different idea.
Okay,
Okay, what else we got here?
we done with the salary stuff?
I have looked at,
I have a question on the 40,000. And I have a question on the cadets. That's only two things that came up during our discussion to this section. Is that it?
or run them.
I think there's a philosophy thing also, like if it's in my budget, I spend it. And I think we need to get away from that, like this is if we don't need to spend it, we should not spend it. We should be saving as much as we possibly can for a fire truck.
Well, if they don't spend it, it just increases the fund balance.
Right.
You'll end up with a positive fund balance. This year, they're gonna have a positive fund balance.
Say, do we have any numbers on previous years? Cause I don't believe that we,
I do have those, of what the original budget was versus what the actual was. I didn't put them on this. What the township board normally looks at for making the budget, you have to look at your actual previous 3 years cost. I've given you, the 3 years, plus I've given you our current budget to go by. Because if we gave you this much last year, that probably is gonna be in the realm of what you have. I can tell you that the numbers that we've been putting in the budget, there are some items that you don't spend money on. But it's there because there's a good chance you might spend money on it. So that you're always good, should have a fund balance come across. Unless we're buying some major equipment. That's what it's, like when we did the air bottles and bought $125,000 worth of air bottles, that was a hit,
one
$131.
thing that I was-
131.
Is, I don't know if it's our name's attachment to this fund that money keeps going to. Was a reason at some point that we weren't getting grants. I mean, grants are, am I correct on that? Grants are based on need most of the time, correct? I don't know, or is it speed of
The
service?
grant FEMA has cut, if we were expecting FEMA to allow a grant period to open to buy a fire truck this year,
Okay.
it didn't happen.
But there's other grants, is it? based
Not,
on-
not like this. FEMA is the only grant that's sizable enough
At
to
least
get a
for
fire
truck.
truck. The FEMA grants that they did offer this year, we weren't in a position to apply because we didn't have, what JC went through, an actual, risk analysis, which we took JC through. So, and if we do that every year, we're now in a position to write grants, but the only grants that were offered by FEMA this year were to increase staff, which we would be in a position next year to write that grant.
Yeah.
With a risk analysis, but then the board has to be ready once the grant, if we get the grant and covers the extra staff to pick up the cost when the grant period ends.
Yeah.
Yes, and they were fairly small grants this year, I wanna say 25,000,
We.
not a half a million.
The reason I say, I know that the new truck conversation. I mean, I'm now going to be the third chief that's walking into talking about getting a truck. And I know at one point, I was told that our account having a certain amount of money was holding us back, or our attachment to the account number might be holding us back. I don't know.
I
That
heard
was
that
something that I
before
heard.
too.
That was just something I
That-
heard, so I didn't know,
Dave
because we had
Johnson-
too much money.
Not the grant
Dave
world.
Johnson said before that he thought that it was based on need, what you had in your bank
Yeah.
account. And that he was told by somebody to spend down
Yeah.
what they had in their account.
Yeah, things have changed so much in the grant world in the last 5 years.
I just,
Yeah.
that was a question that I had heard repeatedly.
No,
It's
if
like,
if
okay.
anything, our poverty status will
You-
help us.
Yeah.
You never wanna spend down, you wanna be frugal with all your expenditures and not buy it if you don't need it, absolutely need it.
Yeah.
That's way your fund balance goes up.
Yeah.
If you spend it every year and you think the township board is gonna improve, more money because you're spending more, which is what some fire departments do, that for our small little community ain't gonna work.
And did anyone have an opportunity to look for grants outside of the,
Pardon?
did anyone have an opportunity to look for grants outside of?
I
Did you,
yeah,
and can't find anything in Michigan?
the big, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I looked at private foundations and there are some out there, but it's like $1,000 for new boots, you know, or it's nothing.
How much should we just spend on helmets? 5 or 6,000.
Including the Columbia Township 5 to 6 probably. But you've got a grace period after the 10-year limit for your helmets, and we were coming up on that grace period, so that was something that was just gonna happen.
We just spent maybe 3,000 in dress uniforms. We spent 750 on 4 badges. You know, I mean, that to me is kind of.
How much?
Used to be 750 on 4 badges. And when I talked to Bloomingdale, they get their badges.
Are
from
they
the
gold
gold.
plated or silver plated?
I don't know, did you get one? It had your name on it. Yeah,
And did it have your rank on it and now it has to be replaced?
Yes.
See, that was carelessness and
but
that
those are
was recent enough that they probably could have predicted that.
I think,
I'm just saying stuff like that though is where I'm going to, and I got a receipt for $20 bags of coffee, which we're not even supposed to buy coffee. With taxpayers' money. Unless it's being served to the public. So, you know, sending Joe to the hardware store and he bought 4 bags of $20 coffee and 12 ounce cookies. I mean, that's a little, I mean, it's little, but all that adds up. And when I see that, I'm like, where else are we not? Where else? is there really not?
I'll reach out to Babcock and Heinz, I'll see, does their taxpayers pay for any of their stuff in the station?
Well, it's.
$20 for a bag of coffee, I get that, but I don't know.
I
What
think so.
is supposed to be running, I heard that.
But
He dropped out the coffee, but.
no, I buy the coffee in here. Ken and I buy the coffee in here.
No, I think.
You are not allowed to do that. It's a municipal.
No, that's totally.
And-
Well, I'll give you a list of what you can't spend public money on.
It sounds crazy because every place I worked, all coffee's always been provided. It's not a big deal, but
That was why my dad started doing it as well. It's a weird thing.
it's just weird.
Oh, okay, you know,
Yeah, let's.
I know we're having a lot of good discussion
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
And really what I wanted to find out today is where we have our issues. I asked that everyone look at what I have and what you don't like so that we can move through this meeting and be done by 1. At this rate, we will not be done for a couple weeks.
And I think it would be really helpful also to have in what's been spent year to date, a projection for relevant end of year.
That's the line over.
Is that show
On the left side of the yellow, that's what's been spent for date as of September.
The 24-25 activity final.
I don't know if it's on your.
This line right here,
That's the 25.
that's
Okay,
how we spent so far.
okay, sorry, the 24-25.
So this is what we spent on this.
Okay,
From a quick calculation, the firefighter on-call pay is likely to exceed budget at the current rate.
Yep.
Just mathematically.
Well, I looked at the rest of the budget that you got here and pretty much there's. Pretty
I
much,
mean, you've hit the big things already.
yeah.
The foam apparatus line.
Where you
I
at?
thought That only, I don't know if you want to.
What I wanna do is just administration. Anyone got a issue in administration?
what line are you on?
We're on line 206 337, that's fire administration. We got 500, 750, 1,000, total of $2,500. It's got training and conferences, it's got the training for MFR and training fees and supplies.
I know one of the things Kara, I guess we should wait till John gets back, but Kara
Cool.
wanted to add is we're paying for a lot of people to train and they never go to a call. Is that something that we can require? If we train you, you have to respond to so many calls?
Yeah, that would be,
Well, last year I know that they bought books, that's why, or I think they bought books at $1,816. That was books that they bought last year for
Yeah.
training classes.
Kara's question was, we train a lot of people, but none of them ever respond to a call. So is there any way to say, you know, we're gonna pay you to train you because it costs to train them, but you need to respond to the call, or is that not?
So, I mean, South Haven wouldn't have that problem because they're full-time, they're all that. But if you talk to Bangor. You train the roster, you train whoever shows up to train. And then odds are, and it's with a lot of departments, you got an all-star 8 to 10. Hopefully, 6 to 10 in departments like those. So it's kind of one of those things.
It's just a lot of people for, you know, $12.30.
But we also train a lot more than the stations around us as well.
We do every other
If you look at Bangor's training hours compared to ours, I mean, we meet 2 or 3 times a month. They meet once a month, maybe. So I mean, one of those things.
are we training people for other departments?
No. We have had people come in and stop in. We have had mutual trainings, like with Bangor, but Bangor has allowed us to come to their trainings for free.
And they reimburse for the book and stuff that they use.
Yeah, so, I assume, I went to that, I'm sorry, I'm assuming you guys are talking about the EMR. Class. That for books? Okay, yeah, no, most of the time it is just our people that show up in the training and. That's.
Yeah, Kara was just curious because she spends a lot of time and money on payroll.
Mhm.
And, you know, writing $12 checks as they showed up at training, but then they never have responded to the call, so. She didn't know if there was a way you could say, you know, if we're gonna train you, you gotta kind of show up, or that's
The
just.
unfortunate part about groups, they don't happen when you want them to, or when you want,
When you're available.
when you're available.
Payroll is the biggest expense
I get that as well,
It's the biggest increase.
I know there's a couple of people that.
in the budget,
So,
payroll.
but yeah, it's,
What
You just wanted me to
What
ask
was the-
that.
no, that's not a bad question.
Payroll increase.
It was,
No.
that's in
There's a
there.
percentage it was figured. Okay,
I don't have it right.
okay.
I think it was like a 60% increase over the past 5 years. So big.
Are we still going line by line?
I'm trying to get through the fire administration, which is Department 337, which really has very little money,
The dollar value isn't material. It's
we're talking about
probably not.
$2,250. And then the fire insurance, you're not really gonna be able to,
Have you gotten a quote yet for next year yet for the liability and life insurance?
no, we haven't. There's normally always a little bit of an increase, but it's not much, but if you look at previous years, it's been going up and down.
Yeah.
That $16,000 a year kind of makes me, the yellow is what I did, why I made that decision for what's in my column.
Thanks, good question. Just because we're going through homeowners insurance changes right now on fire and stuff. My question is our fire, who is our fire insurer?
Michigan Municipal League.
Okay, so they're just for Michigan only properties, like we're not, I think that answers my question. It's a Michigan based.
You don't want to pay for California?
No, I don't. Just checking, yeah.
Are we done with fire administration?
Yeah.
No comments on that? I'm gonna, okay, now we'll go down to insurance. Any comments on that?
Until we get quotes from the insurance company, I don't.
Again, I'm basing it on last year's and I assume last year's was low. I don't expect it to. It's gonna be a little, I'm probably a little bit high on it, but I'd rather be high than low. Firefighters, fire professional service for legal, we always put $1,000 in there. We've only used legal when we were, reviewing the SOPs. I don't think we've done anything since that with them. Medical, we have about $10,000 for their physicals.
Oh,
Computer support, we always put $1,000 in there that, if we have a glitch or lightning strike or something. Professional services organization. At one time, we were a member of a bunch of organizations and I think they stopped doing that, and I see we had a $75 cost for an organization. That must have been
We
something
put
that,
in for the chiefs.
Huh?
We put in for the local chiefs.
local chiefs, okay. Software maintenance,
Now that went up because we put laptops in each of the apparatus, right? So that's,
Tablets.
yeah, we got the tablets, so we have to have that.
Yeah.
We need that.
yeah. And capital, we always think that we're probably gonna have to buy a new computer every year. It sometimes gets used, sometimes don't. Go ahead.
They said that they're new to the area. Hey guys, so that medical line, that was $10,000. That's not that run of the mill where you just go to a doctor and get a physical done.
I'm sure.
They do blood work on us, urinalysis, we do our fit testing for our air packs. At that, we get TB tested, our hearing, our vision. We get an EKG, they check us, see if they can get an early designation, like two of our firefighters actually have been alerted. A prior firefighter and that something is wrong because of that EKG. So yeah, it's not just, oh yeah,
And I'm
I'm so
assuming this-
doctor.
No, but I'm also assuming that for people who respond to fire, should there be a situation with a fireman who's responding, that also is part of that, that if they have.
That's part of our insurance.
We
My
have,
understanding is, Joe pays for his own insurance on a $40,000 salary. Am I
Yes.
correct?
No, Joe.
He does,
Joe
he does.
pays his own medical bills.
Pays his own medical bills on
You're talking
$40,000.
about it's hurting.
Stop.
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah.
if he gets hurt in a response, we're covered.
Yeah, no,
We
it-
have
Who's
insurance
we,
for
the
that.
township or Joe?
No, the township pays for their workman's comp and liability.
Okay,
insurance.
because I'm hearing his private insurance. I'd love
If
clarity
he
on that.
wants to go to the doctor, we do not provide insurance.
he's got
don't
the
provide
flu,
health
he's on
insurance.
his own.
But if he's hurt in a fire or
He's
emergency,
covered.
he's covered.
If he
Okay,
gets sick from a fire, he is covered.
okay.
We have insurance for that. It's what BFIS. I
Maybe,
don't have insurance. I buy it on the marketplace. I told them how to.
But
go
you're
out
not a
there.
firefighter. Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Yeah, but I'm a human being that might get sick.
I
As a
understand.
firefighter, he is covered.
That's what I needed to
Yeah,
hear.
he's good. He's
so you
under.
kind of put it in line of, or in your mind of like workman's comp.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
as long as we're not found to be negligent in the situation, we are.
Yeah.
If we get into a car accident and the other person's at fault, as long as we were being safe in the moment and something bad happens to us, yeah.
And these medical physicals, like you say, they're pretty thorough.
Yeah.
But coming back to the thought about we are training people that maybe aren't actually going out on calls. Are we being judicious about who we send for these medicals, that they're actual keepers? And not just, they're here and they're really doing nothing?
No, I mean, that's a fair question. As I said, Mary, I mean, I would rather have people that aren't gonna show up each training.
Oh, yeah.
That way,
And
that way randomly at 4:30 in the morning, that person is actually home, that person, a perfect storm happens and that person hits their one call of the year, unfortunately. And yeah, that's not great, but it's better than nothing. They at least know what they're doing. They're not a liability to somebody else. My main goal is, it's always been to keep somebody else safe. So if that person's not being safe,
And it's not a requirement for how close they have to the Columbia Township for medical, is there?
no, we have folks from out of the area, at least for overnight. We do have folks, that go through JC's class, and medics. Mattawan, I think that's the only people that come at night now.
And
so are they
do that under-
staying at overnight?
Yeah, yep,
That's why you have the,
We got new cots and that's.
Yep. yep, the new lounge room, originally we had set that room up for 5. Yeah, I had a food on But yeah.
So now we have, we bought new bunk beds and mattresses, so
What
we
about
don't
if
pay
you
people
have,
to stay overnight, but if they're on town and they want to stay overnight, they can.
Well, and yeah, especially if they're out in the area, they have, so yeah, they have to stay. We don't currently have a stipend situation set up, that's why it's not very popular.
sure,
Because, I mean, as you said, I mean, during the perfect storm of medicals during the 8 to 4 period, it's on like 1.5 cities. At night, it could be the same, but having that security like doesn't happen.
Mhm.
So,
Well, what about the co-ed situation? Do you potentially have a male and female shares in the same
Female-
bunk bed?
If there's a female on shift, as it stands currently, ethically, we don't have them stay, the girls would stay in the actual room. And that's just for ethical and more.
Risk management.
And I mean, we have 2 other futons outside of that room, we have 2 couches.
Okay,
Yeah. So
That's good.
say, well, I would turn back that perfect storm, when we do overnights during dinner. When we're really gonna catch something like the ice storm a couple years back, and we have 6, 7, 8 people on shift. That decide to come stay, yeah, the girls stay in bed. Yeah, and it's not that I'm worried about anybody, it's just,
oh, it's,
it's just, the scope of things is just.
talk about liability.
Absolutely.
You would not want to put yourself in that position.
Okay. 339 is firefighting. That's where the medical stuff is. Are we done with that? Is there any changes that any board member wants to throw out there on that? Okay, let's move to fire station.
There's some. total-
I do believe that, this is probably our highest risk of having, exceeding the budget. Due to the fact that we did have a pretty good increase in costs from inflation last year. I left it the same. I think some things might be lower, some things might be higher. I think the maintaining and repair Station 2, the 17,000. Might cover some of the stuff because I don't see much repair that, I think that was for doing the asphalt, and I don't think we plan on doing the asphalt at this time.
Well, I don't,
Some
so
shingles.
I mean, just boom carpenter talk, but I don't know what we need. I feel like that person changing and like, ooh, government facilities, let's tell them $37,000. Like, I think that spot could be fixed, at least around that spot could be, maybe they pull up an area.
Like I said, there's 17,000 there. I don't think you're doing the pavement.
No.
And if you take 1,000 out or 2,000 out, I think you're still gonna have enough to cover the inflation rate.
Not even crack repair for the paper.
Not even crack repair.
Well, because those people repair.
Last year we got tagged up pretty hard on we were having a lot of issues with the septic. So I don't know, was that problem completely solved? I have no idea, but it was an unforeseen circumstance that we kept getting, so.
All I would say is that, with your budget, if you really need to be tight.
Yep.
Any questions there? Apparatus operation and maintenance?
And the 15 for apparatus is likely gonna be needed or for maintaining?
This is strictly, the maintenance aspect of it. And
Well, some of
any maintenance and repairs.
Some of that's gonna be for tires if
I
needed.
would say, I'm not 100%, but yeah, tires might be.
That would be a maintenance.
Yep.
We cut that to 15,000 for this year, and I remain at 15,000 for upcoming year. Numbers all stayed the same.
Like for the medical, that stuff expires, so they have to buy that again.
Medical supplies, like I said, we have more medical calls than fire calls, and medical
It
supplies
expires.
are. are required.
Oh, now the foam, I thought that was something you only have to buy every so often, like every few years. Is that wrong?
Just depends on how many fires go through.
We buy foam bulk, we buy a lot of it, we didn't buy any, I don't think we bought any this year.
No, yeah, I'm not sure where. it's from.
So that 35,000 in the yellow for this year is probably not going to be used.
So you probably only need it one of these years,
But
either the
we-
current year or next year.
Normally on the second year, I put it in, they normally buy it on the third year, the fund balance goes up to 3,500 and then we use it next year.
Well, that might be a little savings for the year.
Well, there's probably, you probably got a lot left, right? You haven't had any house fires and,
I'm trying to, I wanna say that we got the barrel that we have currently, I thought it was when Davis said it. So I'm not 100% on that, like I said, I'd have to check the barrel level, I haven't looked at it in a minute, but.
but, yeah, the foams,
23 and 24, I think. We got it. Right at the change, I remember it.
Okay.
Does it expire in a bad form or all this?
No, not anymore, it used to be, but that was just because the containers that they put them in, they didn't realize that it was breaking down things, so. Yeah, not anymore,
Modern technology.
yeah,
you don't normally use foam when you're on a structural fire on a mutual aid, do you?
mutual aids, no, usually mutual aids, we're just giving water.
Yeah. Jason?
I am very open to hearing if I'm missing something. But I still, I can't help but feel like we're wasting our time right now. If you look at the big picture and say our fire department's budget is around 200,000 every year. The last several years, they've spent around 200,000. So the operating budget of the fire department isn't, it could be the issue. But even if we were to find 20% cuts across the board, it's only gonna free up 50 grand. And you gotta save 50 grand 10 years to buy a fire truck. So if our issue is the fire truck, I'm not, I don't wanna sound like budget trimming doesn't matter. But I haven't heard us make any significant cuts in the budget yet. So I don't think we're gonna be anywhere near even a 20% cut in operating budget for the fire department, which isn't gonna do anything toward a fire truck. So if the fire truck, I just don't know that we've established what is the true issue we're trying to solve. Are we trying to buy a fire truck next year? Are we trying to reformat our payroll? Are we trying to restructure how we do emergency like, what are we doing right now? I'm not.
What we're doing
I
right
don't
now
sound like
is
a
we're
jerk,
trying to
but-
set up our budget for next year for the fire department. And that's the first part. Then we gotta do the rest of the township, but the fire department's the most fun.
But we're 6 months in advance. of the
You
budget
are,
being-
we do not have money for a fire truck. You're gonna have to fund what we can fund, and they're gonna have to use the old equipment until such time as we can figure out how to come up with the money for a fire truck. I can't come up with the money without increasing the millage rate. I can't get, grants. I can't get the state of Michigan to help us. I cannot get the county to help us. I have exhausted all my avenues,
I understand that.
but we still have to have a budget for next year.
But even doing this exercise, I guess what I would say is, what I feel like I need as a board member. I don't have any actuals for the current year that we're in, number one, I don't see those. So when you say, does this budget number for next year look good? I say, I don't know, because I don't know what we've spent so far. And even if I did see that, I would only see 6 months worth of data, which kind of goes to Karen's point. Are we doing this too early? Like, how can you say whether a number is good for next year when we don't know if it was good for this past year yet?
Well, maybe
This is the
the
first
point
one.
of this is to show that they're exactly what you said, is we're not finding big enough cuts in
Okay.
this to solve the problem.
Okay.
Anything saved is helpful. But it's not gonna get us to the fire truck. And in the past, I don't even know if John agrees with this, but I'm guessing he does. We basically identify that we were able to save 40 to 50,000 a year up until we added quick response. So we basically asked JC flat out last year, if you could only have one or the other, which would you pick? And he said the QR. Which meant then you don't get a fire truck.
Yeah,
So he knew that at the time. But we still need to get there. I mean, even the old reliable is not gonna be reliable forever. So to me, I actually think we have more than 1 year to figure this out,
We do.
especially because, as I keep saying, I'm gonna be shocked if we don't get Vesper in here. And I think the funds will be available. And I think everybody in here is saying, if those funds become available, they don't have to go to the fire department, but isn't everybody willing to say if we need a truck and all of a sudden we have money, isn't that what we would do?
You see, that's where, if you have this money coming in, like I know the community service or whatever they call it's $100,000.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, in
Community.
2 years, you got $200,000 you can put towards a truck. And if that's the case, then you can take money out of the general fund.
and know that you can do it
To
back.
do the balance, because you know you're gonna get it back.
yeah.
So I think we can, limp along with what we have right now for the next 2 years, and if it comes before that, super.
Well, that's why I would say the question for you would be, like, we've kind of demonstrated that we don't have the money to buy a fire truck yet. What happens if we don't buy a fire truck next year?
Well, there's a couple of options. You lose one of your apparatus because it's too far gone.
Okay, so if we don't buy a fire truck next year, one fire truck is taken out of service. That's a mandatory.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Okay, how could it happen? Like, what would make that happen?
They're breaking down.
If, John can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, the recommendations from the, National Fire Protection and NFPA are recommendations. There's no statutes or anything else. And
Well,
I'm
100%, because-
However,
Yeah,
However,
places that can't survive
I-
based on certain, so.
as long as the apparatus, whatever it's designed to do, passes the tests that it's supposed to pass, they don't care if it's 100 years old. I mean, I talked to on the forum, in Washington, state of Washington. They have a piece of apparatus there that's 40-some years old. And they said it works fine, it passes the test. There's only one problem with it. Just stick shift, and nobody knows how to drive it.
Yeah.
But the apparatus itself is fine, so ISO is key.
The one thing, so the difference that we've been communicating about and we keep going back to on this is. I mean, JC did bring it up as it's going to be a need. The faster the faster the better. We're not demanding it today. And I mean, I know that preferably, at least as the board is concerned, for the most part, it sounds like, obviously the fire department should take their own step.
Well, the fire fund,
What do you mean
Right.
by that?
The fire fund, that there's an account that takes any accrual. If that accrual is not there, you don't get a truck. One of those things, and I mean, that's one avenue to travel. But on that same token, I mean, yeah, if I could bring. Say I've kept perfect care of that 40-year-old truck, do you get solace from me rolling that truck to your house though? That one problem, what happens that one night, the only person available, is a dude that can't drive stick shift. Like it's one of those, that's the hypothetical as far as it goes, one of those deals.
There's always what ifs.
Exactly, and that's the reason it's called an emergency.
One of our mutual aids hopefully will show up with you.
Just like waiting for that ambulance. You hope that, well, I mean, New Year's Eve last year. I consciously, when I became a lieutenant, stopped drinking. New Year's Eve, we went to South Haven, we watched the balls drop. I went home, we got a new puppy. Harley was taking the puppy out at 2 in the morning. And one of my neighbor's house, or their garage was on fire. So I mean, one of those deals where, I mean, I started fighting a fire on a national, worldwide holiday. And was just hoping for other people to show up. I thawed their garden hose out with the fire to start fighting the fire. So it's one of those deals where, I mean, yeah, something could show up. And our problem we keep bringing up is 70 could show up and it looks really good in the yard, but it's not gonna pump water. That's a problem. And that's a problem that's gonna get absolutely thrown back at us and the township. If some dies.
Is it repairable?
We can keep putting the Band-Aid on it. Well, like right now, we've had 4 or 5 different companies look at 7. Backroads, like I said, I didn't even know that they were gonna be working on it yesterday morning. I just stopped at the station. And he was there, all 3 compartments of the relay panels was open. And I was like, okay, another electrical issue. It's just, they find it, fix it, and it moves on to another part of the truck. Just one of those, it's this, the peace of mind isn't there with 7. It's just not there.
I guess as a concerned citizen, my thought process would be, if we've got money in the operation fund, I don't care that we're sharing it with the fire fund. If the fire fund has the ability to pay it back because they have an overage 1 year and they can contribute 20 grand back to the operating to help recoup that, great, but if they don't, I certainly don't want to punish them. Because it's still part of the community.
Well, also, I think it's the board's job to oversee the fire department and make sure they're adequately funded. You can't, you know, you're in a bad, board is a terrible position if they're shortfalling the fire department. There's a terrible accident and now we've got lawsuits because somebody didn't get served and we go back, I'm not done, and we go back into the record and we see that.
We've had this discussion.
Yeah, and that's why I go back to this priority. I mean, I guess I would love to hear the board say unanimously, we are in favor of having a fire and emergency department and that's a top priority for us. Not that we spend all money without reason, but I'm not even quite hearing
I
that.
think we did that last meeting by deciding to keep
The fire department.
our own
Okay.
emergency service department and figure out a way to make it work.
I'm also, I would be with you, Karen, if Vespers comes through from a state perspective, okay, we'll get something out of it. But, I think it's a scapegoat way to do your budget. Oh, well, wait, you know, maybe if 2 years down the road, and there are a lot of reasons to think that we won't get that grant money, even if they come in, we might get a community benefit.
The grant.
We won't. Oh, so now you agree, we won't get,
We're not talking.
But
They
if that-
literally said no to the grant money.
but
Yeah.
it's not even there. So that's the other part of it.
Grant money's gone.
It's
Go
gone,
with the
thank you,
grant.
but it was gone.
But
I don't
it
wanna go back to an argument about that. I'm just trying to say, I think it's a little bit of a scapegoat argument. To say maybe in a year or 2, we might have, it doesn't really, it's not planning. It's not
You
planning.
know, if they're here,
I think
there's
there's,
money coming in.
and there may be other ways to use it. I'm just saying, I just think the board has a fiduciary duty to deal with the reality of now. And set what your priorities are, and it's still not quite hearing that.
Is it safe to say that the emergency is a higher priority than parks?
Parks isn't asking anything for you at this point. We know that if we get anything, it's gonna be a crowdfunding thing, so that's an inappropriate comment.
And we did ask about that funding. I mean, you and I talked about that and we did work on that.
Well, but, and
Because fire.
And like I said, we can talk about that, they're all, the fire departments as a whole are going, like, I mean, obviously not stating the municipalities aren't, but I mean. My department from my hometown sells lumber, like, but they're volunteer, they're pasty sales, spaghetti dinners, like that whole thing. And we're gonna return back to that whole public scene over the next year and start getting ourselves back into it. The chili cook-off seemed like a really good way to drag some folks in because it was very popular when we did it here when Dave was still cheap. But we kind of lost our way back in 2020 when everything got shut down. We weren't supposed to be with the public. It's never really worked. So we started doing the open house like everybody else does in the nation. And we're slowly working on it, but what she's saying, we're not that much of a business. We're not that much of a business as a whole. As far as seeing the numbers just being a straight expense. It's, I keep returning back to peace of mind. Existence.
Human
they're
life,
coming.
yeah.
So,
Well, if people can't afford to live and they get kicked out of their homes and their homes.
well, my
get
unfortunate
taxes,
thing
I
like
mean,
that,
we've got
the
both
fire
sides.
department's not causing their taxes.
No, I'm saying if we.
I
increase
understand,
bills,
100%.
you're talking $500 to $1,000, $500 to $1,000.
How
per
much do they pay
household.
right now? How much
And
do I
it
pay?
depends on their taxable
I
value.
was gonna say, that's where it really hits. So I mean, it's one of those things. Young people can't stay here because they can't afford to be here.
And we are poor, but we also have 1,400 CEOs that live in our township.
Exactly.
We have some enormously wealthy individuals and
Which might
houses
outsourcing should work.
whose house, well, you maybe, try it, go for it. Whereas that's what we're gonna do on the parks. But,
Well, don't have them donate to
But-
the
but you-
parks before they donate to the
My thing
parks.
on that though, guys, is that why, so why is it more predominantly okay in our minds to don't? Why does that
Because people
feel?
that can't afford it.
Well, no, 100%, but yet, I had the same person. He told us that we should be volunteers at that meeting that we came to. He's a great guy, he comes to all of our events, he brings his kids to the events that he spoke of, that it's getting harder to pay his taxes. And he donates at that point. Like one of the, I get it, and I don't wanna pay higher taxes either. I get taxed by the village and Columbia Township, and then I get taxed in my paycheck. So I get that, and I'm not trying to raise people's taxes, but just. As we've talked with Jason and we talked with Matt at the meeting that I was voted in at. Somewhere along the line. We did decide that last meeting that we do want the fire department, but the entity is not just there to protect itself.
Let's use a little common sense here. The three things that a township is required to do by law. Assessing, collect taxes, and elections. Police protection, fire protection, or any other amenities are totally up to the township. So since we have these other protections in place, it shouldn't be a guess that it's not important at all. It exists for that reason. Okay, I'm done.
Good question. If you ordered a new truck today, how long would it take to deliver?
There's three of them sitting at Spencer's. Of minis, which is what the township's looking for.
To answer your question, if you ordered one, if it wasn't available, it takes about a year.
I would say it's
Takes
6
about a
to
year.
18 months depending on the chassis you choose.
Now, the other thing is you can get a mini bumper
which is what they want.
that's already there, sitting at Spencer's in South Haven. For roughly between $3 and $4 grand, $300,000 and $400,000.
What's the 565 that was proposed here then?
That was more than one apparatus,
That's right.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that was when the brush rig is wet.
Yeah.
Okay,
And can you finance it over any period of time?
The last quote that we got, and I didn't bring it, was for a mini pumper spec by JC. And it was $315,000.
Did you hear Laura's question? Could we
Can you
finance it?
finance it?
Pardon?
Can you finance it?
Sure, you could finance it, but where's the money gonna come to pay the finance?
so that was what I was just gonna bring up. I still think. I haven't heard it firmly established that if we don't buy a truck, that next year we lose the ability to provide adequate fire services to our residents. I hear maybe we won't, maybe the truck won't start, which. I guess we can operate in hypotheticals, but I would like to know more definitively if possible. What do we lose next year if we don't buy a truck? Let's assume that we lose our ability to do that. Let's start pulling in pieces of this puzzle maybe and go, we know Vesper is shooting for 2028 for construction. I agree with you, Kate, that we shouldn't rely on that as a budgetary thing. But we're in a pickle, like we clearly don't have the funds in the budget unless we pull all from operating, which
It's gonna leave the operating short.
it will leave the operating short. It will not leave us in a position that MTA recommends for us to have cash on hand, so that would be. Possibly a mistake in the other direction, but what if instead of transferring over 350,000, what if we financed a truck? Cause I think I remember there was a 7-year payment plan over One was 60,000, 70,000. Like you put in a chunk every year. Now, I don't like paying interest any more than anybody does, but sometimes if you don't have the money to buy a house, you have to get a mortgage. So we could, I'm just throwing this as an option, I'm not saying I wanna do this, but we need to propose solutions. We could pull 1 or 2 years of payments from the operating fund, which would not leave us short of what the MTA recommends. Until we got community funds from Vesper back, and then we repay that with the community funds that would potentially go to a fire truck later. Now, granted, we're assuming that we're gonna get money from Vesper, so that's a dangerous thing. But if we're in this conundrum of we're going to lose the ability to provide fire service to our residents next year, then that's the issue at hand we need to solve.
If that's
So-
true.
Well, I'm saying the same thing. I don't know that that's true because it's kind of, well, ISO says this and you know, this, and that's why I go, I don't know. Hypothetically, what we lose if we don't buy a fire truck next year.
About 25 to 40,000 because next year is 70s overhaul. For NFPA standards to keep it in state.
So wait a sec, say that again.
70 next year is due for its 15-year overhaul.
And how much does that cost?
I had 80,000 in the budget, I got that from JC
Okay.
80,000 for an
80,000.
overhaul?
for an overhaul.
On a truck that's going to go bad at some point. anyway.
22s would cost around 25 to 30, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I think he had 30,000 for the 22 that had to have it at 25 years.
Is there, now I think JC said something about selling it as a down payment. Isn't that another option to get something going quicker without training?
Take a trade it. Like, so.
So wait a minute.
Expensive truck,
This
isn't it?
is a piece of info I don't know that I've heard yet. 70 is the one that's going out of service.
Yes.
Or that we would be replacing with a new truck.
2770.
And you're saying if we don't buy a new truck, we're gonna have to put 80,000 into that truck to keep it on the road.
The 80 is to cover, 27, 22 is the only one that we've ever had to do an overhaul on, and it was about 30 grand.
No, I know, but didn't you say that 70 needs an overhaul?
But it's a new-
2770 requires an overhaul after 15 years of operation.
If I remember right from the proposal we got on the other pumper truck, when it was a payment plan over 5 years, it was like 80 grand a year. So if we have to put 80 grand into 70 next year anyways,
Mine would be.
why not get a new truck for 80 grand? Seriously, like, now we're starting to go,
Yeah.
we're seeing the picture here of what our options are.
Well, if you're gonna buy a truck next year or the year after, you probably wouldn't go ahead and do the
Overhaul.
Exactly, that's what I'm
overhaul
saying.
either.
Put your money toward a new truck rather than an overhaul,
At least reduces your
if
risk.
the overhaul is required. Again, I don't understand these
And
things,
again,
It's
but
a recommendation
Know
from,
the difference in what trade-in value there would be?
oh,
I mean, if it didn't have the overhaul, it wouldn't be worth as much either, right?
It should wash though, because if you're gonna get 80 more, but it's gonna cost you 80. Just depends.
right,
My guess is you don't get dollar for dollar. on the-
you got a truck that doesn't engage, your
Just like you
truck's
would
not
not a
gonna
car.
Oh,
cover it anyways, besides value of the truck.
I can tell you that Bloomingdale just sold or just had advertised, 2 of their trucks. One had 19,000 miles on it. It was a 90 something or other. And another one that had something else on it. It was the miles were nothing because they sit most of the time, but, the age of the truck was the thing. And they got like 13,000 bucks for it. They just,
yeah, they're
Nothing.
probably not worth a
They're not,
lot,
no.
honestly.
no. But the overhauls needed in what, 2 more years?
Next.
Well, it's a recommendation for 15 years. I mean, that's a recommendation
When is
again.
it? When is it?
15 years, the 16th year is required. As a recommendation, we can go out another year or maybe another.
That's not my question, Ken.
But it is my question, so I'm glad he answered it.
Okay. My question is, when is the overhaul actually due? What, 1 year, 2 years
15,
from now, from the age of the truck? When When do we need to
We
do it?
bought it in 2011, so at 15, 2026, it requires an overhaul.
Okay,
Requires or recommends?
recommend,
It's a recommended.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
That's fine.
And
See, that's.
Says 26 is the year, 27th would be the year that you'd have to do it in. Right now, if you go by the rules.
Oh, okay, okay.
NFPA 1911,
Correct.
states that 27-22 should even still be an operation. 70 is hitting its year where it should be hitting a reserve status.
So I agree with what, Jason had put forward here, that sounds like a viable option, but that doesn't mean we have to rush and do that this year.
If there's a plan to get a new truck, no, then we definitely don't spend 80 grand on.
Right.
that truck that we
Right.
don't even, that we want to get out of here, 100%.
Exactly.
so
100%
would it be
agree.
reasonable to make this decision next year,
Yeah,
when you either have to do it or not, and at that point, we would probably know the status of Vesper, so we could make the most informed
right,
decision
Right.
next year.
yeah.
Jason, do you know
So
when
let me
they're
ask
going
you a question
operational?
on that. If that's.
Do you know when Vesper's going
Are you
operational?
saying, forget fire department?
I'm not.
No,
Then
No.
then set
Construction
Vesper
28.
aside,
28, when's operational?
makes no sense to me.
It might make a
It
difference.
takes
2 years?
half or 2 years. Oh,
So we're talking 2030.
Well, you just said 3 were already built.
When would their, when would their company start paying?
Sorry, Bill, I'm sorry.
Operational is when we start.
Bill had a question.
Sort of
We talked
for-
over.
yeah.
Well, sorry, Bill. What's your question?
To me, it sounds like kick the can down the road if you're just saying if Vesper, if Vesper. Well, let's wait until we know Vesper. We know we got a truck that's, not reliable.
It could.
Are we
make a
going
difference
to
of what
get
they
a new truck or not? That's the first question. The second question is, how are we going to pay for it?
Right,
If
We
we're gonna
don't,
get a new truck.
and if we decide we need a new truck. Vesper may not be there, so we might want to think about other options to pay for
Mhm.
it. So,
that's fine.
and whether we do an overhaul or not is, in my mind, just a matter of the timing of it.
Exactly.
Okay, so do we wanna throw 80 grand into something and limp it along until we have a surefire way to pay for it, which we don't even know if it's surefire at all?
nobody's proposing spending 80 grand this year, is
No.
that correct?
No,
Right, so in my mind,
26?
we wouldn't do that. We
26
would-
we are.
and if you wanna use the term, kick the can down the road.
We're doing a 26
Yeah,
budget.
for maybe another year.
Yeah, the
Or
80
maybe
grand
a
next
year and a
year.
half. When we need to make a firm decision and probably have additional information if Vesper's coming in and what money we get. Because
It makes a difference of what you might be willing to take out of general.
that's exactly what,
Maybe. This is probably an unfair question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. To me, it's all about risk. And what you see, as increased risk by putting this off. Is it one fire that's devastating? I mean, can you help us understand the risk?
I mean, just the risk equals out emergency, it's one of those deals where. So we talked about NFPA standards just being guidance. But technicalities on that point, things that you guys would care about. Townships, states have ISO radios. Insurance, because of being within 5 miles of a fire station, I think we're a 610. I would have to look at that, but it's, if you're within 5 miles to 6.
right,
I got
It's
an
within-
8. I just
yeah, I
got
was
it,
gonna say.
just got an 8.
So,
on
I
a
mean,
quote
it's-
From a Michigan.
but-
it's all about
Legal.
and stuff too.
Legally, if we don't take care of that truck, at its 15-year point, we would have to report that it screwed up their house because it didn't run water. And that is a point where I don't believe that our attorney can protect us, that is a lawsuit we will get. Pushing the decision 2026 is 12 months. It's 12 months. On December 31st, we could put in that we started the old of 2770. If we do hit a point where we go, okay, no, Vesper's 1000% not funded, and we still don't know how to fund this trip. One of those days, but 2770 operating on the first of the year in 2027 is now a legal liability. If we don't do that. over. And that's an NFPA standard, not a guideline or a whole or anything like that. That's just where it's at, unfortunately.
Okay, I'm gonna flip another, flip a coin here.
Okay.
On the other side, the legal liability would not go away even if the truck was still in service, if it didn't work. The liability is still there.
What's your point?
My point is, the liability isn't going away. It doesn't matter if the truck's expired.
Well, you
it's still
reduce the
works.
risk of the liability happening if you either fix the truck or replace the truck.
What is the risk? You don't know. It's a hypothetical.
Well, I think our fire department has been trying to inform the board for years now, about the increasing risk of this one truck not being available. So the question
You
in
know
my
what?
mind is,
They
oh,
didn't tell the board for years.
let's,
No, they didn't. That's the problem.
well, I've been coming to board meetings, yeah, I've been coming to meetings and I've known it for years. Somehow I knew it.
Maybe through back channels. It
No, I'm
wasn't
not
at the
back
board
channels,
meeting.
not at all.
My thing is this, with how much you guys pay attention to receipts and whatnot, how did 2770 not at least raise their alarm bells if they weren't communicating that 70 is. That's just my question. I don't understand how one
Until
truck.
we got that
is so
presentation.
many-
Until we got the presentation, we
Yeah.
didn't even know that it was an insurance thing.
Yeah.
Cause we're like, what was the insurance claim for?
Right.
So that's when we started looking.
So we definitely need to keep that year-round risk analysis up to date, I think, for the board, yeah. But
The other decision
One
that
bad
could
fight,
make a
and we're in a
difference
whole
is
different-
whether we get new or used. I mean,
Right. Right.
yeah,
for affordability.
Okay.
Well, in actuality, you need two trucks,
Why?
not one.
So you give an inch,
One can be a used truck that's still within its first 15 years. Because your second out truck is gonna reach 30 years in 2026.
My question is, why do you need two trucks? You need a,
You need a first out and a second out.
why?
According
Why?
to
Because when the
according-
first out is out for maintenance, you have no truck.
That's where mutual aid comes in then, just like anybody else. If they-
all these little departments have multiple engines. Okay.
I think, no, I think Bloomingdale,
Everyone has
I'm
to,
trying to think of anybody volunteer or not volunteer that doesn't have more trucks than we do.
Oh.
And I
I don't
mean,
think-
Bloomingdale has a first and a second. They have a water tender. I'm literally visualizing the base right around us. I know that Lee just got that really super nice station. Clover got their super nice station and they don't have trucks at all those doors.
right,
But everybody, as Ken is stating, they've got,
and
if
I,
one goes down, another one's there.
right. I've also read that you're not supposed to locate your first and second truck at the same location.
Yes.
One should be at one spot, another, in case something happens to that station, hurricane comes through, or this comes through, that you still have,
Fire
a
station
fire.
is still.
okay,
Yeah,
we're not Chicago Fire here. I mean, let's be honest, Bloomingdale has one fire station, the trucks are in it, the last hurricane did not wipe them out. So.
Yeah,
Mary,
there's.
I have no
we have the
answer.
limit on- I mean. we
I
are
have no
small
an- I just-
community.
I just got that.
these are all hypothetical stuff, you can't,
Well,
and you.
all I'm
can't
saying
solve
is 30 years is
Responsible risk.
30 years, you need to start thinking about replacement, and if you're gonna replace it, you wanna buy a used truck that still has years of service left in it, so that you're not buying two trucks at the same year.
I don't have a problem
Like we
with
did the
that.
air packs,
I don't have- Okay. So
So
where
what's-
where are we at? in
What is the
budget here?
proposal
I
then
think-
for 27, 22?
If 30 years end of life is in 2026 for 27, 22. 2770 needs to be replaced as soon as possible because it's really not reliable. 27, 22 reaches 30 years and 2026 should be replaced with a used fire truck. Our grass rig has, been in service since 1988. That's not a good thing. And it will not, 2770 will not go into pump that's popped out of pump. So you get on key and it won't go in the pump. And they've been a training, exercise that popped out of gear and stopped pumping when they're in training. And if you're in a house burning, you don't want your pump to pop out of gear.
Which one is that?
70.
Okay,
There's 2770 and down,
22 is approaching.
down here it
Is
says,
it functional?
these are replaced with new fire truck.
Say,
It's not reliable, will go on to pump as it popped out of pump.
It hasn't been reliable for 11 years. That's why you have the other truck.
This has been happening since they did the railroad
I
track.
understand that. I'm saying it's
understand
been
that.
that way for
I get it.
11 years.
But like, it sounds like 70 needs $80,000 worth of work if we're gonna keep using it, but 22 does not. I get that it's approaching 30 years, but is it reliable?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one they.
Okay, so then we don't need to get 2 fire trucks right now, right?
Right.
Because 2722 is your reliable truck.
Yeah.
Says it right there, reliable. In the 30 years is 2026. So age-wise, if you're in NFPA, it says you need to replace it. You should not have it in operation after 30 years of operation.
I mean.
And
is that
Our solution is a used truck that's still within the 15-year first out truck situation. Did I say anything wrong there?
it's 27, 22 is not a problem currently, but like as I just said, that
That's right.
plan should be in place for 22 because, I mean, yeah, 30 years. The grass rig, not so much just for the main fact that we've changed the pump on that. So, yeah, it's from 88, it's old, it's trusty, it's rusty, reliable. 7070 is our main focus, that one is, cause I can tell you, Rick, I couldn't positively tell you that $80,000 next year, like say we just said, no, just, we're not gonna do the trip. I can't even tell you that I'm positive that $80,000 would fix the current problem.
Well,
You would literally focus that on, you know,
pump.
the generational things, you would try to go into the pump, you would redo all the seals like we did for 22. Tire updates, check chassis, all that kind of stuff, and we've got an $80,000 paperweight once again.
When was 22, sir, overhauled?
Because they hit 25.
So that was recently, 3-4 years ago.
2021, 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's been overhauled within 5 years.
Yeah, everything, any leaks on it, electrical issues, they don't do it for the, so.
And the 30-year mark, it's not a requirement to replace it, it's just.
It's not, it's just, I mean, the nice thing
The
about.
life of a truck,
Yes,
it's
well,
realistic.
the nice thing about the rural areas is that, yeah, I mean, that doesn't have 250,000 miles on it, but sitting time still counts for something that weighs that much, unfortunately.
well, staggering the year of the truck sounds like a very important plan.
You should stagger years of any kind of equipment. Like, I don't know why they bought the 130 to 20 bottles of the air packs when you should only bought 10, and then 2 years buy another 10. So they don't all expire at the same time.
They were on sale, that's why you guys did it.
On sale, yeah.
So going back to Bill's questions, they're absolutely right. Are we gonna buy a fire truck? How are we gonna pay for it? I think I would add to that question now is, when do we need to make that decision? That decision need to be made now,
I'd say,
2 months from now,
Personally,
next, you
from
know,
the numbers,
Well, this budget doesn't have to be totally done until March.
right.
I mean.
It doesn't have to be
it's
done till March.
Not gonna
Uh,
take any effect until
but
April.
I believe that we need to do something for next year of buying a truck. I think that we should probably before December decide that we're going to do that so that we make sure that we budget it properly, and if we have to get loans, that we know what it is and how we pay for it.
Yeah, that's.
And
the
is
key.
there a way to
That's
find
the key,
out
is how we
the
do it.
value of the one you wanna sell?
Well, you're not gonna get much out of that truck with it doesn't pump.
But right now you don't know it.
Something's better than nothing.
We'll talk about
the
trading.
reason it's important to know when we need to make the decision is like, if we wait till April or March or whatever. What if the 3 trucks that are sitting over there are sold and then we have to wait 18 months
There's
to get a truck?
always be,
Well, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to rush it, but we need to think of all the variables here, like. When we need to make this decision, if we're gonna do it.
Well, we could have bought that one for $220,000. It was in a wreck and it was repaired. But when you look at what the document said. No warranties.
We want that.
Nope.
And if they put new electronics in there. just
What's
like
Sorry.
John said. You could be spending money just like 11 years ago.
Right.
You could have bought the
And what's
same
their
truck.
fund balance right now? Do they have enough money to do anything?
What was that?
What's the fund balance of the fire department about?
350?
It should be 393 at the end of this year from our projections.
Yeah, it should be 393 at the end of the year. Last year is 387.
Oh, you buy it.
So that might be something
That's
to
interesting.
discuss and maybe.
How much is that truck? 3 something?
What?
How much is the truck that we
The
need?
mini
300 and something?
The new bid.
Well, the last,
You said there was 3 at Spencer's, how much are?
The mini pumper.
the mini pumper. the
Mini
last-
pumper, I was told it's around 500,000 when you have everything put on it
The
that we need
last
on it.
That spec that
Is that right?
they gave to the board was $315,000.
How much?
He's right, that
315.
Because of the crash, they wouldn't.
There's certain things they needed to add to it that added up to about
That
5.
was spec way.
Okay. Whatever. The 300. You go buy the truck tomorrow.
Yeah.
3,000
We'll see.
is
Yeah.
So
what
really,
gets put on the truck. Yeah.
so they have enough money to finance. If they chose to with their fund balance, but they would have to, make that payment then. What would the interest rate be, does anyone know? Because what they're also losing is 4.2% interest that, when their fund is invested. So not only do you have 6%, but you're losing 4.2, so it's faster than 10.
Well, and if you go to a conventional lending source, they may not charge interest because of the community service. They may just say. Divide it up, no interest. Anyway. Okay. So are we done with what we were talking about?
No.
Well, we're trying to solve a problem more than we're trying to do our
I
budget. today.
understand that.
And,
We had some good discussion.
I have no problem with that. I think our new fire chief and I need to go see Spencer, probably as soon as we can. So I'll work with him. We'll go talk to Spencer when he's,
Trading,
what's that?
so ask about financing, ask about trading, find out about what the,
Right, get some numbers.
yeah.
Let's go get some real numbers and let's talk, let's see about loan, get some real numbers, talk to a bank or something. I'll go with you. I'll go with you. We'll, get all the data we need and we'll get back with the board on that.
Let me know what you've got going on, because I know,
We'll also get scheduled, like when we can get one
I
and,
know the scheduler at Spencer, so I can, when we could get tour of everything.
okay. Well, we got that action.
Yeah.
I'm available anytime.
Now, just to throw more stuff in here, as long as we're talking. I had asked JC one time. He had proposed a fire engine.
Mhm.
And I said, if we wind up with this Vesper in town, would it make any difference what you would buy? And his answer was yes. So that was the other reason, it's like. Are you sure that you would buy the same thing if you knew
So.
what?
No, you're 100% correct, you remember the conversation, so 2770, problem, we know that, 100%, we know that. 2025, we moved into a point where mini pumpers are a a more viable option than a 1.5, a 2.5, $3.5 million truck for a community at 2 mils. We don't need that
And our
truck. That's,
fire-
my aerial that goes up above the township hall. I don't need that. It depends, the mini pumper is a means to an end for not only medical, but also a first out truck. It can fit down every one of our fire lanes. But I don't have to worry about scraping one of my trucks trying to get out to the island. One of those deals, I mean, it's,
Right, right.
In
But whatever
hindsight,
they're
was that
storing
been better
there-
all along?
whatever they're storing there will be a big topic of conversation for that set of truck versus 22. Just the needs on that will just depend on what they've got in. Originally it was lithium, now I've heard it's phosphorus. Yeah, so.
They pay for it, they increase the
Yeah,
risk.
it would be one of those things, so you're correct, you did take the right view from that conversation, but as we've got stated here, and we've said repeatedly, I mean, 22, we just did it. Yeah, it's frowned upon to have a 30-year-old vehicle, but she is reliable. She's the most reliable truck I've had.
Yeah.
And, but 2770, that mini pumper just, it makes sense. I believe as far as the plan was concerned with the mini pumper, that would take our current medical vehicle 2710. And theoretically, I think we're planning on turning that into a
The
gravel.
record.
Yes, so, the mini pumper would
See, and
double,
this is the first I heard of that.
so
You're
that's
talking
just.
about converting one that you have into a grass.
Absolutely, because the mini pumper solves multiple issues. So, it was
It's
just,
like overkill to go pick somebody up off the.
So Joe would be driving around a mini pumper when he goes to medicals? Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
yes. When you think, the mini, have you seen pictures of the mini pumper?
Yeah,
I was just making sure that it's usually a 350 to a 650 chassis, so it's a big truck. And then obviously the stuff popped on, it's not just a mini fire engine or anything like that, but yes, the capabilities from 10. I believe the plan was to transfer 10 over to that as a community of this sort. Fire and maintenance.
Because you got the back end sitting on station one.
Exactly, we would just,
So all you need
you
is
drop the tailgate down.
They're 550.
I take the cab off, I drop the tailgate down, and I have another pump.
Yep.
I mean, that does, and that fixes, I mean. I know that we can see that 62 is ancient, but she's pretty reliable. She's had some work done to her, but I mean, she does the thing, the pump.
yeah, they
Access,
make
but-
things better than they can do.
Oh, I know that your fridge only lasts 5 years now, it used to last 40. I
My
know,
neighbor's
so
still using it.
one of those deals. I took a son when I worked for JB Hunt's Whirlpool Division, I took a washer that was 65 years old out of a woman's basement, just because it was locked. Their kids bought her a new set, so it still works, but yeah, so, the mini pumper will allow us to circumnavigate all the problems that we're having, besides another vehicle just getting better.
Well, I'm so glad maybe I'm the only one that didn't know that part, but this was news to me.
Yeah.
That's helpful to hear.
It allows our daytime guy to take fires and, medical, because if he's on a medical and the ambulance gets there, we got a fire call, he's gone with the right truck.
Which is what 2 hours is supposed to do, so. We get there first, we stabilize. Hand up.
Okay.
Well, it's getting close to noon here, so why don't we just try to finish up the rest of the fire here? And then we'll call that a day for the, budget meeting. Is that agreeable with everyone? We haven't got much left, I don't think. But I think you covered the capital now. We were last on the department, 341 was apparatus operation and maintenance, which got us into the big discussion. I didn't have any notes there because most of that was all capital talk, and I'm gonna move my notes to the capital. Is there any other line item there that you think might be high or that you would want to have adjusted or looked at? If not, I'm gonna go to Department 342.
So did you
And-
take that 500 and something, what do you,
That comes out of there.
that's what you're gonna go and talk about? Getting
Well, I already talked about that 565 will be eliminated and taken to zero,
Right.
okay?
Right.
And then up above, you have equipment. We always put in money for what I call loose equipment of $4,500. We bought the air tanks with those. I think at some point in time, I'm gonna make a capital line item for air bottles. We're probably gonna start buying them on a 3-year rotating, just a couple bottles. Might be 5 years. That went to zero, so that column's gonna come way down.
Hmm.
Then we have a late charge fees and that seems to all have gone, so I didn't even fund that. We haven't had any problems with that, which gets us. I guess that does get us to fund balances. That will all change based on this. I
think that brings it to a $15,000 surplus. And that's all, but that's something.
after this meeting and probably within the next day, I will send you an update based on this information. Mary, could you have Becca go into the budget on the townships? General and open it up for a new budget year?
It's open on everybody else's computer, I think we just have. to-
I cannot get in, I cannot get the new budget, it's not made up yet. She has to actually generate it.
I have it on.
So I couldn't put my numbers into BSNA where they would calculate. This is a spreadsheet that I made because,
What did BSNA say?
huh?
Did BSNA need to walk you through it? Was it something?
No, it takes, the administrator to generate that, not me. Becca would get mad at me if I touched that.
So Ken, are you proposing to change the column that's called supervisor recommendation?
No, I wanna add in on the board, what the board has done for this day, I'm gonna put that in there, it's still subject to change because the board's still reviewing it, no final decision.
Yeah.
No, I'm not changing any of my numbers. But to do your numbers, or the numbers that we decided today, I'm gonna have to go in and put those into this, because I want you to have the real thing that's in the budget and not something I have on a spreadsheet. We probably have time to do, the police fund and probably, to look at it, and then we probably have time to look at the roads if you wanna do that. I don't think that's gonna take more than 15 minutes because they're pretty straightforward. Wanna do that?
So we're not gonna discuss or do anything on the lake, the SADs? Cause those are pretty well stumped.
We could do the SAD, but the police has got a revenue, predicted at, of 155,000 this year. It's got expenses are gonna be about 107,100, and what I did is I gave that a 3% increase because that's what it's kind of rolls based on those other ones. I also have to let you know that we've have changed the way that we do the budgeting now, because we have traveling expenses went up and his police expense went down. So if you looked at the first year, it was 115,000 for police expense. And then the travel expense was like 5,000 something. Well, the way that they're doing travel expenses changed, so probably because of the cost of cars and everything went up. That's now $15,000 estimated. And so basically you got a fund balance you're gonna get with that is you're gonna have $23,000 and $76 fund balance, where the fund balance will increase this coming year.
Well, hopefully that 15 grand is gonna be actually less, because prices have gone down.
Yeah, well, yeah, hopefully.
So,
So any question on the police?
Since we have 365,000 sitting in our police fund, what kind of extra assistance can we get for blight enforcement out of that?
He's actually, his wages cover the blight enforcement that he does.
Aren't we having trouble getting it?
I'm moving along.
Okay.
I think it's going quite well. You're doing a great job.
Not as good as I'd like it.
Not with, I
Well,
wasn't
I-
okay with Gary, but no.
And we're way better this year than we were last year. And I,
It seemed like Jeremy's.
Everyone's getting a report now.
have any citations been issued?
Have any citations been issued?
That would be what he would.
That would be,
There's
I'm not
gonna be one issued probably in 2 or 3 days.
okay.
I'm sorry, I thought the
Just-
last I had kind of heard, we were having trouble getting Jeremy to go on these calls. Is that
Jeremy
not
and I
true
had,
anymore?
Jeremy and I had a talk.
Gary and Jeremy are in alignment,
Okay,
okay? Now there is blight money down
Right.
later,
I understand.
and he has 15,000, I think.
If we need police help for that,
Blight.
We can't
I
get a
thought
lot.
it was- I thought it
we have
was,
$365,000 sitting in our.
Yeah,
police.
I can't read it now, but
Seems like we could
15
get
sounds
something.
right.
Could you talk to Jeremy about liquor, law enforcement? Because we're supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, I have not, because we don't have any liquor things in the town.
We have,
Oh, no, I'm wrong. We've got 2 of them. We've got,
Gas station,
yeah, we've got 2 of them. Yeah, okay.
yeah, he should be doing, monthly inspections. There's a form that,
I know Scotty used to do that for the whole county. Now whether that's still in process, I don't know, but,
well, maybe that goes to 0 then.
and well, we'll have to see what the contract. I'll get,
Make yourself a note.
huh? We'll take care of it.
I know we were doing that
Yeah,
a few years ago.
Yeah, we used to have
Yeah.
a file on that. We
Yeah.
used to get some kind of.
I did not get any information from North Bypass Fund. They normally give me what they're gonna spend. So it's normally, I have a fee down there on North.
Aren't they
North Lake.
going to up their SAD again? Weren't they gonna combine their,
North Lake,
Summer and
yeah,
winter
they
and-
wanted to
do
comply.
another one?
Yeah,
Was that North Lake or was that Great Bear Lake?
That would be North Lake.
North Lake.
Great Bear just lowered theirs.
I haven't seen anything from, I'll get a hold of them.
Boy, if they do, that's really crazy, because it's already 800 and something for those people on that lake.
I
That's a
agree.
lot.
They're,
Yeah, they're driving people off the lake, I guess.
Whatever they're doing isn't working, they might wanna go look at Great Bear, because they just dropped theirs $100.
Same thing for Saddle Lake. Normally I get an estimate
It's already-
from them. I'll get a hold of both of them. The senior fund is not probably gonna be on the budget there.
Well, that's in and out anyway, it doesn't need to be, does it? Or maybe to show it should be,
yeah, it just comes in, goes out.
yeah.
I've already sent out to you guys what roads we're doing this year. I sent you a spreadsheet with the roads and there's a couple projects on it. That's figured in right now that, we got a revenue of, 348, 381. And we got, expenses, this year are gonna be, 300,000, 638, and the county is gonna up the amount of money that we get. Last year, they gave us about 65,000. And they said we're gonna see an increase, but they haven't given me the increase. I have a meeting with them this week, I think on the 24th.
I believe it's probably gonna be under 70 now.
I think it'll be under 70. I didn't put that in for my budget, I
Yeah.
put the 65 in. So it's about 300,000 we're gonna spend, we're gonna do. I think 7.5 miles of roads. And it's gonna be the stuff that we did in 2021, 2022, it's the repeat. I am working on a 5-year rotation instead of a 4-year rotation because the costs, the expenses have gone up, we're spending more than our revenue, and I'm trying to stay within the revenue, so we're gonna see a new expanded years on that. But I don't think there's gonna be any questions on what we're doing. So we just went over. We went over police. No problems with roads with anyone? Roads. And then I will get more data on the lakes. Special assessment lakes, all three of them. I will contact and ask for their estimated budget.
Are we saving the fund balance in roads for a big project down the road, or how did, what?
There is a tube on Second Avenue that the state of Michigan wants us to replace, and they want us to replace it with a bridge. And that will probably take most of that money. And I have put it off. They ask me every year, they'll probably ask me this year, and I keep asking them to get grant money. That will pay a portion, but we can't afford the thing.
Why does,
One mile of paved road costs $1 million, so if we get into a point, and I think 24th is getting darn close where we're gonna have to repave that. And $1 million would not be enough to go from 215 to the end of our road, and that is one of our highest traveled roads, believe it or not. 388 is number one, 215 is number two, and 24th is the next.
Well, I heard, we just had a meeting recently, I forgot who gave the stats, but it was 388 and 384 came in second. Yes,
I said 384.
no, you didn't, you said 388, and then you said
388 is number
215.
one,
you said 215.
You said 215,
and then 215.
so 388, then 384, then 215, then 24?
24th was like the third
Number
one down.
4, okay,
Might be the fourth one down.
okay.
But it's well traveled.
Well,
That's
because it runs-
one of the first roads that gets plowed.
24?
Yeah, which surprised me.
And Jason, were you around here when 388 was so horrible? We had complaint after complaint. And I think our share of that was a good $1 million.
I think it was over 2 million.
Was it? But that
It
was
was more
only
than that.
because we had kept surplus in here over years to be able to take on a big project. And I know you didn't want us to spend it, Ken, but everybody else was glad it got done.
I am not spending any money on county roads, and I told them that, and we haven't spent any money on county
Well, I
roads.
think they have maybe a
And they did-
director now.
They did 380 with their funds, not our funds.
Yeah. They have new people at the road commission that are doing a better job of
Like,
taking care of their funds.
they hired somebody to do grants, and he's getting a lot of grant money. Okay, are you good to quit at this time?
I am.
Do you wanna set another meeting time?
In a few months. Well, when there's more data for,
Well, I think
For the
we're gonna have data within 2 weeks, right?
can't that be at a regular
That can
meeting
be
if
at a
it's
regular
very
meeting.
specific?
Sure.
Rather than-
Yeah, that doesn't need a special meeting at all.
You wanna do another Saturday on like November 8th, start at 9 o'clock and
We don't need,
Why?
or do you want one, Gary?
why do we need a special meeting?
Can it be part
It
of
could be a
the
part of a regular
report
meeting.
in
board
a,
meeting.
in a regular board meeting?
If we're talking about.
You wanna come an hour early on a board meeting for a special meeting to go over the stuff that we find? Or do you
Are
wanna,
you gonna have an hour's worth of stuff or is it?
we still have the rest of the budget to go through.
Oh. The rest of. Is the consensus on the rest of the budget that none of this has to be really tackled until January?
Well, I know what the recommendation time is, I have it done by December 31st. And I'm trying to accomplish that. You want,
That's close to January.
waiting,
But are we
wait,
gonna get through
wait,
the holidays?
waiting till, March 31st is just not
No, that's not good at all.
acceptable.
That's not good.
What is the budget year, Ken? What's the?
It starts on, April
April
1st, and then it ends on, March 31st. You wanna wait till, January on this?
Well, I looked at the whole thing. I don't see much that, other than, did anybody else go through it? Is there anything? The only thing I want to say-
$100,000 on transfer station and cemetery.
Okay, I was gonna say on the cemetery, like the burials, the foundations. And a lot of that is reimbursed, so it's an in and an out.
Right.
So not the mowing, of course, but we fixed a lot of trees this year. What would you suggest with the transfer station? I was thinking that maybe I don't know, do we talk to Bloomingdale about they do 2 days, we do 2 days? Would that solve anything?
I don't know, could we reduce our hours?
The
Well, we're
hourly
not-
rate's not what's costing us though, is
We're
it?
not doing Tuesday morning or evenings anymore. That's done.
But we increased the hours on to Saturday and Sunday, right? We went back to 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, 9 to 5.
We
That
went go from
remained-
9 to 5, so maybe we could go to 9 to 3 or something like that.
That's not gonna solve a lot, is it?
Well, if you,
We do give out 2 free dump passes.
Are you doing that once a year or each season?
I think she gives one each season, so
They,
it's 2 a year.
someone got one the other day.
It's one every tax season, so.
well, we still have the free dump pass with the 4. With the 4 punches, right? And plus we have now the Blight 30-day ticket. That, Jeremy Lance has given out. Okay. Yeah, there's been no 30-day tickets come in yet. But,
Well,
yeah, you can give it to people, whether they use it or not, it's up to them.
yeah, that's up to them, yeah. You know how many he's issued out?
I-
Ballpark?
I don't. I talked to him last night around 9:30. And he said he's gonna have a report for this meeting. So,
Okay.
You should make sure I get it, so I can update, we don't want more than one spreadsheet coming.
no, this is,
Yeah.
yeah, this is a report, yeah.
His normal.
And I have a debit
share
here, yeah.
report.
Now, there's a couple that I just got that are closed out. I didn't even send you because one was unfounded and the other one was unknown. We
Okay,
don't do unknowns.
I'm talking about the stuff that's.
Yeah,
on the spreadsheet.
no, yeah.
I mean, the biggest expense on the transfer station is the contract disposal in the best way. Is that something?
It's both. The which one? Did we show you?
Just those.
Right here. Transfer
I was talking
station.
about Bill's thing about the transfer station and
Well, also what's in here, now unless I'm missing it, there's nothing in here, I don't see anything in here for the tower, any income from the tower in
Oh,
here.
yeah, when does that
Uh,
start and how much is it?
I think it's $650 a month.
That would be up. at
They increased it from that 500 they,
cell
signed a
tower.
contract with us for.
But they're, that material for the manufacturer from Verizon is ready to ship. All the pads are in.
And you've got
So
that
that's-
revenue up here and you had 1,000 in there. Is that right?
That's a ARPA.
No, cell tower transfer.
Oh, okay.
I have 1,000 in there because that's, at the time that I wrote this, that's what it was. That's gonna increase.
Yeah, there's gonna be, if it's $650, you're gonna have about $7,500 a year coming in.
They said that they're gonna start paying us on November 1st. I think is what the letter I got. I thought
Okay,
I
And
thought I
how
gave that
much
to you.
is it that you're gonna bring in?
well, do you remember the dollar amount? I'm thinking
650.
a month.
Yeah, they increased it from what they,
And then in a 5-year period, we can renegotiate that because they'll have more members.
every 9 years,
So that's.
according to the contract, every 9 years.
Okay,
If they change it to 5 years, then they haven't told me that. Yeah,
well, I thought that's what it was when we talked about, when you had stipulated it was renegotiable. Because they had more subscribers, but I thought it was 5 years. Maybe, it was-
every 9 years, they got a 50-year lease,
well, yeah, the lease, yeah,
and every 9 years, they reevaluate it.
okay.
So we pay it every time that big dumpster gets.
Oh, I will change that, line item for 101 dash
000,483.
000 dash
What's the number?
483 dash 00,
It's way in the top of this period.
November, December, January, February,
How much they're putting in.
But yeah, so how did you, how did you, how
that'd
did
be
you?
5
reach
months.
the conclusion?
I think 5.
Well, because the $32,000 for disposals, that they,
That would
every
be,
time they come.
they pay.
That'd be $3,250 increase.
Right, huge amount.
Anything else? Public comment?
I think the discussion was worthwhile.
I
Yeah,
do too.
my comment is, future oriented. Gary and I went to a county meeting on the transfer station and recycling. And I'm putting that conversation, what I learned from the county, together with what I'm learning about the county and its role in fighting fires and emergencies, and I just, we're in such a changing time. It sounds like the things that we're talking about, the transfer stations, the fire and emergency, other little towns are also having trouble, and there doesn't seem to be a cohesive way to plan together.
It's statewide, it's statewide.
Well, I ran across grants, I
I mean,
saw.
the problem, state.
I'm aware, but it seems that we plan at a county level. I saw that the county recently gave out a lot of money in grants for transfer stations. I'm like, well, why weren't we on there? I didn't even know about the grants, but this is a county. So I just feel like the board needs to do a better job of connecting with the county and making sure that we have a voice from our township, talking to the county and driving the discussion, much like what we're having here. For our little township to take care of all transfer station needs may not be the best use of our money when we've got transfer stations all around the county. I mean, we talked about that a little bit at our meeting. You know, isn't the county able to do a strategic analysis of where we actually need transfer stations?
Well, part of that is the conservation district with the tires.
Well,
But-
I'm just trying to raise a big question, I just think we need to, as a township, got a lot of smart people in this room with a lot of information and a lot of experience to share with the county, and I think we're at a time where we need to be part of county conversations about resolving some of these issues that are common to all of us.
So are you saying the county commissioner meeting?
I'm not
Sure.
sure, I'm not well versed enough in how the county is to know where we insert ourselves. I'm kind of looking to you for that.
Maybe Kurt would give us good advice.
Kurt Doral would
Yeah.
How to
probably
deal
have a
with
good
it.
answer for that.
You know,
But what I saw in some of those grants, they were stipulated for specific things. Some of them didn't apply that.
Yeah, at the transfer station.
Right, so.
I think what you're saying is true, because we don't even get reports, we don't get anything from the
Nothing.
senior services. The ambulance, we don't see any of them until they're ready to ask for more money, and then they all show up.
Okay.
The schools, everybody, we pull teeth to try to even get a monthly report, which we shouldn't have to, I mean.
No, you shouldn't.
We should be able to get those every month. We
Agreed.
should get a report. I don't know where we push from that. The other thing is the county, like on the treasurer's end of this, they are now getting rid of the Citrix. They're getting rid of stuff and putting more responsibility on local.
And we don't even necessarily know about it, or you're learning about
You
it?
know about it now, because they got a $10,000 bill. And
Oh,
every year, we have $6,000 that we have to pay
okay.
for this BSNA. So they're taking their workload and pushing it down to
Pushing
the
it down.
townships.
And we're at least able to do it. Really, but in terms of the way that our townships are so small and that type of thing. I mean, it's very decentralized, so it's gonna be a very expensive way if we don't work together as one county, as opposed to every little township trying to do their own It's
No,
very
we are
expensive.
one central. They're putting it on each and every county or township now.
Township.
Yeah, you're
We were
considered a
centralized.
unit.
So
Oh.
they're going the other way with what
With-
Kate's
yeah.
hoping,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we were centralized with the county. They've decided to now put more on every single township.
So we probably do really need to be a part of that conversation.
Actually, they said that we collect, an piece when we collect taxes and that the expenses should come out. So,
We need to be, so that's my comment.
Okay,
I agree, we need, it's kind of like with the ambulance.
Well, so is it Kurt Duro that,
Duro.
I mean,
He's
he's
our
bringing up at the next
commissioner.
board meeting and ask him what advice he has for where we should be plugging in to various.
I could check, I talk to Kurt fairly frequently, grab coffee with him every now and then, I can talk to him if you want.
There's some things too that.
Or maybe do it at a
not-
meeting, obviously, because he usually comes to our meetings,
Yeah.
but.
There's some things that are in the county level that he really can't comment on. Because they're not.
Fine, yeah, I'm just
But-
looking for, where we can be part of the planning
Right,
process.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, if you're not the squeaky wheel.
we're not, yeah, be the squeaky wheel, who cares?
And how do we plan and drive a
Yeah.
little business, like getting a Dunkin' Donuts in town for Northern Coffee and things like this?
Or, good luck with that.
This township has worked very hard to do this subject.
well, I gotta adjourn at some time in my, end the conversation of that.
What businesses we do, that's the other option.
Okay, gonna adjourn at 12:09.
Okay,
You got a lot of notes there, or?
I have enough.
I have it full recording. You want to send one of you, you want me to, I have.
Well, if you guys.
Oh, we got the owl too. Yeah, but I'm missing the first